Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day and night and evening. David, what's up? How you doing?
What's up? Just sending out the link. Just sending out the link in it. I'm live with AP discussing the Israel-Iran war.
No.
What is it good for? Absolutely. Lots of things.
Nice. Hey, by the way, my song is really taking off, man. Like, I see, like,
you mean on Spotify or on YouTube?
Everywhere. Like on YouTube, despite being on a new channel, it has so far 40,000 views.
And that's it was like 32 before I went to sleep this morning.
So and lots of people are listening to it. Lots of new people are coming in. So the stats show exponential growth at this moment, which is very nice. And also on Spotify, lots of people are listening. So really, really good stuff. I guess this is the beginning of my music career. So anyway,
bigger start. This is a bigger start than the Beatles, man.
Yeah.
They had to try for years to get 39,000 views and still couldn't get it. They couldn't get 39. They couldn't get 30. They couldn't get 20. Took them years to get this. Your first song, boom, all over them.
I already have an audience because I kind of cheated. Yeah, soon I will be. My Spotify artist account will have more listeners per month than. Let me see who are the top 10 right now in the world. Then Bruno Mars, The Weeknd, Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish, Ed Sheeran, Rihanna, Coldplay, Kendrick Lamar, Bad Bunny, Taylor Swift. I mean, all of these are a bunch of losers except Kendrick Lamar. So I'm soon gonna have more listeners than they do. So
The Weeknd. So he's a guy.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, he did the Super Bowl halftime show, like whatever it was, 5-6 years ago, whatever. And I was like, who is this?
You see.
But you just
anyway, so today we're going to talk about Iran, the war. I'm calling it a war because I did also call it a war in the title. It was initially announced as simply an operation, a special operation of strikes by Israel to strike and to destroy Iran's military and nuclear capabilities, because it is Iran has been very, very open about developing their nuclear capabilities, reaching, I think, 60%. Was it 60%? Iran, yeah, I think it was 60%. 60% enrichment. Let me see. I'm going to share a video about this as well. Iran was producing 60% enriched uranium at a similar rate, decreased production. So according to the calculations, at the level that they are at right now, it would take them with a serious plan to build nuclear weapons. It would take them only weeks to months to build nuclear weapons if they need to. And there are lots of speculations that they might be secretly doing it, but they have also very openly said things like nobody is in any position to dictate what we do with our own nuclear program.
Wrong.
and also said things such as if the U.S. or any of its allies attack us, then we will be left with no other option but to build nuclear weapons and to use them. Is a statement that was actually made by Khamenei's office. And here is the thing, and I want to break this down several times here during our show, but so let's get a few very basic things right here. So Iran has developed the capabilities to build nuclear weapons. Iran has also said if America or its allies attack us, then we will have no choice but to develop nuclear weapons. At the same time, for many years now, for decades, but especially over the last years, Iran has been very openly and very directly engaged in waging proxy wars against multiple nations, especially against Israel. Meaning, they have a branch of their military which they put into the field where they waged proxy wars against Israel, from Lebanon, from the Palestinian territories, from Yemen, and so on. So thereby they force Israel and other countries to do something. Of course, other countries are not doing it. Israel is the one that has the balls to do it, which then, of course, necessarily leads to the second point, which is we have no other choice but to build nuclear weapons. This is a very simple trick. This is what Hitler did. This is what Russia did. This is what many of them do, to manipulate the world and manipulate the public, to prepare for a certain atrocity, and to preemptively make it look like it is actually the other side that is forcing you to commit this atrocity, while turning it into a self-fulfilling prophecy and inviting those circumstances that you said would lead to that atrocity. In this case, they fight proxy wars against different nations, especially against Israel, while arguing that if anyone attacks them, they will be forced to have nuclear weapons. They know very well that their actions will lead to them being attacked. And Israel wanted to make sure. Israel, of course, sees through that. Israel also has been saying it for quite a while now. But Israel wants to make sure not only to finally deal that strike, that blow, but also to make sure that Iran cannot do what they promised they would do, and wants to make sure that Iran no longer has the capabilities to be, forced to develop nuclear weapons.
And lots of people don't understand how serious of an issue this is. Like, we're thinking, I even seen sometimes it's dumb. It'll say, but if Iran gets nuclear weapons, what will happen? We can't allow that because it will destroy the United States. No, the United States is not in any danger of being destroyed by Iran. A place like Tel Aviv would be. And so there are issues like that. That's normally how we're thinking of it. We're normally thinking about Iran and launching an attack on Israel. There are other serious repercussions of a nuclear Iran. So there's that clip that's been going around of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And this was from like 6 or 7 years ago in an interview. And he said, Saudi Arabia doesn't have nuclear weapons. We don't want nuclear weapons. He says, but if Iran builds a nuclear weapon, we have to have nuclear weapons. So he's pointing that out as like a consequence, right? Iran isn't just an enemy of the United States and an enemy of Israel. They're an enemy of all these Sunni nations that are around them, and especially of Saudi Arabia. They hate each other. And so if you were to get a nuclear Iran, you would very quickly after that get a nuclear Saudi Arabia, because they would have to. They would not want, they understand they are a target of Iran as well. And so they would want to be able to respond in kind. So it's just a bad situation all around. You have someone who wants a nuclear weapon and is led by complete death cult lunatics who would use it gladly, because they would gladly kill millions of people and gladly face the repercussions because they think it's going to bring about the return of the Mahdi. It's insane.
Yep. Iron Kipper says my favorite YouTube duo, Ali Dawa and Mike Winger.
Good one.
Says Ultra. Too much Zamzam water. Should change the intro to Sesame Street. We'll do that.
Oh, you don't even know what that's about, do you?
Sivako. No, I don't.
Yeah, we just did a show responding to Dawa over
Open Sesame.
Dawa
Yeah,
over Dunya.
I heard that. I heard
The
that.
sesame seed oil up the butt.
Yeah.
Up
Yes, I
the
heard
butt.
it. Open Sesame. I heard it. Sivako, Angel Wilson, Magic, Jubla, Nuke, Summon, Antichrist, RGC. Am I a joke to you? Yep. Don't want to say anything against Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson is my friend now. Iron Keeper, I'm here
hero.
thanks to Iran waking me up on time. Thanks to Iran for waking me up on time. Ida Rogerson, stay safe, everybody, by the way, Israel. I know that this time, when the terrorists down the road attack you with missiles, it's usually not that big of a deal. It's usually not that serious. In this case, with Iran, it's not just Hamas that is firing at you. It's actually a serious country that is even helping out Russia in delivering, old equipment to Russia that is fighting with you. So Iran's strikes are not quite that much of a joke, although the vast majority of them fail. Some of them still get through, and some of them still cause injuries. As far as we can see, so whatever the Iron Dome intercepts in terms of missiles, the Iron Dome intercepts like over 90%. I think 90 to 95% of missiles accurately. But even then, when the Iron Dome intercepts missiles, debris from the missiles falls down and can cause damage and injuries or even deaths. And but Iran also now sends ballistic missiles over, and ballistic missiles cannot be intercepted through the Iron Dome, so they have to be intercepted with a different system, which is, I think, the Arrow. And
I'm
not sure with the names of that defense system.
The Iron Dome is primarily made for a certain type of weapon, namely like the kind of rockets that Hamas would fire. It's primarily meant to respond to those kind of short range rocket attacks and so on. Iran is firing different things. And among the things that Iran is firing, some are better than others. And so they are the Israeli defense systems still do a good job, way better than Iran's defenses do against attacks from Israel. But more things are going to get through from Iran than get through from Hamas.
Yes.
So there will be significant damage, and there will be more casualties.
So right now, in terms of casualties, let me see what to know. In terms of casualties, there have been some major strikes today from Iran into Israel. I think the number of people dead in Israel so far, I think is like 4 people are in total dead, as far as I know. Gotta check more. Precise casualty figures in Iran could not be confirmed, but Iran's ambassador to the United Nations, Amir Saeed Iravani, told the Security Council that Israel's strikes had killed 78 people and injured about 300. In Israel, retaliatory strikes have killed at least 3 people and wounded dozens more. To my knowledge, it has been updated to 4 dead now, but still waiting. So, and the thing is, Israel also has announced, with no objection from Iran, by the way, that Israel now has air superiority over Western Iran and Tehran, which is a very significant thing in warfare, especially warfare that mostly concerns airstrikes and aerial warfare. So Israel,
it is. Israel will be destroying Iran's ability to fire rockets. So right now, Iran can fire rockets. They have been firing long range rockets and so on, and some of those are going to do damage. But Israel, since they have air superiority, they're just gonna bomb the crap out of everywhere Iran fires rockets from. So as this goes on, Israel will be stronger and stronger, because Iran's not going to affect Israel's ability to launch attacks, but Israel will stop Iran's ability to launch attacks over more and more as time goes on.
And even before air superiority, it was the vast majority of Israel's airstrikes hit the ground in Iran. and cause the intended damage, while the vast majority of Iran's missiles do not even reach the ground in Israel. So Iran is significantly weaker and significantly less successful in their targeting and all that. So so far, Israel is significantly by far superior in this fight. But the thing is, you never know where things can go from here. And there's also not much of a fear that any allies of Iran will actually jump in, because they're afraid, to be honest. And also, Iran doesn't really have much of alliances left. The only country that people thought would jump in such a situation was Russia, but Russia can barely defend itself right now against Ukraine, so they're not going to jump in. Here is a post by Noah Murid saying, "This is what it looks like above us right now. Iran fires." But I want to look at another footage here, which is very, very funny. Now, I also falsely identified this as Iron Dome. This is actually not the Iron Dome. This is one of those other... what are the names of those defense systems? Is it like Arrow 3 and something like that? Ballistic missiles. But here, so this account, Adam, stupid enough as always, says the Iron Dome is useless. What this video is actually showing here is very, very nice. This video is actually showing the Israeli defense system intercepting missiles. David Sling is intercepting missiles. Isn't there another one which is Arrow something? Yeah, or is it the same thing? I don't know. So what you can see here is that the missiles fired by Iran are actually intercepted. In fact, all of them. Pay attention to this. So intercepted. Intercepted. These are debris. Something landed there.
Yeah, I saw them. I saw the one in the background, way in the background.
Yeah. What you can see here is mostly debris after they are intercepted. So this is how successful the Israeli air defense is. Iran fires, and almost everything that Iran fires is intercepted in the air. And mostly debris lands. I think there is also an intelligent system at play, which is that anything that heads toward empty fields, empty territory, is not intercepted by the defense systems. So some of it gets through and lands in random empty territories. And so this is kind of funny. This guy comes and says, "It's useless. Look all the missiles." Dude, you're literally showing a video where the air defense system works as intended. So this is where Israel really has the upper hand, and also has the comfort of being able to strike without fearing massive strikes back. Of course, some still get through and land. It is never meant to be 100%, but this is the situation.
Hey, how can you criticize this dude, Adam? It says right there he's an analyst and a commentator.
Yeah, so that is the situation right now. No comment says, "Why Jewing worship?" Dude, so here's the thing. I want to say one quick word about people who come here and say, "Why are you defending Jews? Why defending Israel?" Number one, I love Israel, and on this channel I will be defending Israel unless I see something really, really bad that Israel actually does, and I will happily call that out. Outside of that, here I defend Israel. We defend Israel. We don't do the whole Israel hate thing. So if you're bothered by that, go somewhere else. Because especially in this case, especially in the conflict that we're speaking about right now, Israel is on the right side. Israel is the righteous one. Israel is, by all observations, doing the right thing and truly defending itself. Nobody can actually debate against this and then make the point that this is wrong and that Israel is a wrongdoer and all that. Yeah, so you can go away, and in fact I'm banning you, dude. No comment.
And here's the thing. I mean, you're talking Iran. That's like I want to be clear. I'm talking about the regime. The people, you have tons of good and awesome people who can't stand the regime like us. As far as the Iranian regime and all the stuff and all the tentacles they have and all these terrorist groups and constantly just trying to bring about the end of the world, Iran could be up against almost anyone, and I would almost always take the side of whoever Iran is against, because that's how sick and evil they are. They would have to like be fighting with North Korea for me to be like, I don't know, I'm not sure who's who I want to win here, because they're sick and evil. So it could just be pretty much anyone. If put it this way, if Iran was going against Saudi Arabia, I'd be on Saudi Arabia's side. I'd be on Saudi Arabia's side in that fight. And D-Wood is not a fan of Saudi Arabia, but in this case, you just have a bunch of groups, Sunni and Shia, who are hell-bent on exterminating Jews because the most obvious false prophet in history got butthurt because the Jews wouldn't affirm him as a prophet. And so he had to declare that they all have to be exterminated. And so guess what? The people around Israel are just going to keep attacking it. And so you either have to say, well, then Jews need to defend themselves against all these people who want to exterminate them, or you have to say, oh, who are we to say who's right and who's wrong? So just who cares what happens to all these Jews that all these guys are obsessed with exterminating? Quit being on the wrong side of things, guys.
Times of Israel says initial reports indicate impacts in Bat Yam. Hey, does it sound?
Hey, that's where we were.
Yeah, that's where we stayed.
Dude, if this had happened while we were there, we would have actually been in the safe room during the rocket attacks, man.
Yeah. We had a safe room at the place we stayed.
Awesome sandwiches there.
Initial reports indicate impacts in Bat Yam, Rehovot, Ramat Gan from Iranian missiles. Initial reports in Hebrew media indicate a number of missile or shrapnel impacts in central Israel following the latest barrage from Iran. First responders say they are responding to reports of impacts in a number of locations, including major damage on a building in Bat Yam. I bet it's the building we stayed.
Could have been our building.
Yeah. Magen David Adom says that there are a number of moderately and lightly injured people in Bat Yam, and first responders are still searching the building. Initial reports from the fire and rescue service also indicate a possible direct impact on a building in Rehovot, an impact in Tel Aviv, and in a mall in the center town of Kiryat Ekron. So mostly civilians are affected by the missiles fired from Iran. That's how the situation is so far. Yeah, here, Arctic Base says, David Wood, who would you support in Iran versus Mike Winger?
Iran. What?
Nothing.
I said there would have to be specific situations where I would not be against Iran.
There is one thing I want to talk about, and before we get to the whole Iran situation. The Iran situation is very, very important. The Iran situation.
Hey, there it is. wait. Did it finally get community noted? That's funny.
Yeah, there's still community note proposed.
Yeah, so that it's amazing how much stuff they had crammed into there.
This is an AI video showing, among other things, an Imperial Star Destroyer from Star Wars at the 1.0.
From Star Wars.
This is a.
Wait. Yeah, you just play it, man. Just play it. Just play
referencing graphic. Yeah,
Suleiman Ahmed's video about what Iran was targeting. Iran was actually really smart. The building they were attacking was not just a civilian residence. It was loaded. It was loaded with all sorts of aircraft, including very advanced aircraft for space.
Yeah. So he shared this. Obviously, there are jets inside this apartment building. Then not sure how they get out there though. And there is this giant bomb here.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a ship, a carrier at the bottom. And then ooh, look at that. Right out of Star Wars.
That is a Star Wars Imperial Star Destroyer.
Yeah. And he shared this as breaking Iran targeted infrastructure and buildings in Tel Aviv used by Israel to store F-35 jets and submarines. Here's the thing. Like, normally, if anybody
thought that was a submarine.
If anybody else posted stuff like this, I would say, yeah, it's obviously satire. With him, I can't really tell.
You can't tell because he's an idiot.
This guy's like completely retarded.
It'd be like Syrian girl. Syrian girl could have posted the same. Syrian girl, Suleiman Ahmed, Jake Shields are the people who could post this, and we would think they're actually being serious and not complete idiots.
And the thing is, like, there's also nothing to parody here. Like, if he was parodying, posts or announcements by the IDF or anything, those announcements were entirely accurate. There's literally nothing to properly satirize here, unless he just does this for fun or he's retarded. And I go for the latter option. Israel just took out one of Iran's major oil depots. This is true. Iran themselves announced that the major oil depot in Tehran has been hit by Israeli strikes and is on fire and vastly damaged, which also provides much of the gasoline supplies inside Iran altogether. So Israel, when this whole thing started several days ago, said that this will be an operation that will probably last several days long. Then later that night, the statement was made that it will probably be at least 2 weeks long. At least 2 weeks of strikes against the Islamic regime of Iran, in order to destroy the military leadership, to destroy the nuclear capabilities, and so on. But at first, it looked like it was more simply about military targets and nuclear, the nuclear project. Since then, and also about certain IRGC leaders and all that. Since then, it seems it's expanding a little bit more. But there is more. There is some more stuff to say. This is very funny. I just noticed that Jonathan Conricus follows me.
Whoa.
And he only follows 757 people.
Yeah, so he's not following 10,000 people.
Yeah. I was just looking at his profile and thinking, I want to have a conversation with this guy to get his take on stuff.
You can DM him, man. You can straight up DM him.
Then I noticed that he follows me, man. I love this guy. I think he's one of the best faces of Israel in this entire conflict.
By far the best chin of anyone.
Yeah. Maybe he heard me say that he could destroy somebody with his chin, and then he was like, "Oh, that was a good line. I'm gonna follow this guy." But yeah, he follows me. He's the former spokesperson of the IDF, and also part of FDD. Honestly, we have mutual friends. Somebody might have just told him about me. I don't know. Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF completed an extensive series of strikes on targets in Tehran related to the Iranian regime's nuclear weapons project. The targets included the Iranian Ministry of Defense headquarters, the headquarters of the SPND nuclear project, and additional targets, which advanced the Iranian regime's efforts to obtain a nuclear weapon and where the Iranian regime hid its nuclear archive. This just was announced an hour ago. Now there are lots of here's at the site of an Iranian regime missile hit. The IDF has given me permission to share this. This is Erin Malan, who has been spending lots of time in Israel. She was on Australian media, then she was, I think, fired for some reason.
Here on the ground at one of the sites where one of the Iranian missiles hit, and you can see just how heavily populated this area was. Lots of apartment buildings, lots of families, lots of cars, all just completely destroyed. Cars flipped over, cars on top of other cars, as you can see over here.
This is serious damage, and this doesn't happen in Israel. So this place is in Israel, was hit by Iranian missiles, probably ballistic missiles or something, and there's significant damage to civilian buildings here. This is
by the way, I mean, this shows you how they have a multi-layered defense system. So they have the Iron Dome and the other systems that are meant for intercepting rockets and missiles and so on. But then in addition to that, when things are being fired, they tell people to go into their safe rooms. They tell people to go into the shelters and so on. And so look at that. I mean, there should, if they did not have this multi-layered system for defending their people, this would have been like mass casualties, casualties. And they're getting very few casualties.
Yeah.
So it's actually good stuff.
So far, I think, as reported, let me see the updates on that. As reported so far, the number of dead in Israel. I know some people are saying that that there is a total of 6 new deaths just from the strikes that just happened over the last hour or two. I need to get some more confirmation on that. But apparently, one of Iran's missiles hit a place that is mostly Arab populated. And in that region, I think it is that they hit an Arab city. An Arab city was hit where several, most likely Arabs, were killed. 3 dead in Tamra, Israel, after Iranian missile strike. Death toll in early missile strike on Tamra in northern Israel rises to 5. Okay, here is the update on that. So, death toll in earlier missile strike on Tamra in northern Israel rises to 5. Tamra is an Arab, I believe, is an Arab, not her. Tamra is an Arab city in the northern district of Israel, located in the Lower Galilee. Oh, that's very far up, very close to Lebanon. So there, that has been hit. All the fatalities are members of the Khatib family, Arabs. 5 dead. Huh. Yeah. And so on, and so on, and so forth. Laura Loomer says you can't have peace with Islamists. Come on, don't be so naive. Do you really honestly think Islamists are capable of being peaceful? You used to actually speak out about the threat of Islam. Now you pretend like they are peaceful. She has been fighting with people who are arguing that Israel is at fault, the gropers and all that. Now, I want to get to something very significant here. So Benjamin Netanyahu made a statement earlier in English. And in this statement, there is something very, very important to pay attention to. I want to have a brief look at that, but before I get into this, let me quickly see here. Iron Kipper, I'm here thanks to Iran for waking me up. Ida goes in hello, trying to send a super chat with the other things, but it won't let me. Yeah. Right now, you got to be careful with super chats, Ida. But hey, good to see you here. Of course, it did send the other one. What the if? I believe you are in Israel, aren't you? Stay safe. Bill Galactica, all those in Israel, stay safe. I hope and wish for and pray for peace and the preservation of goodness and life in Israel and also Iran. For the Ayatollah Sesame Seed Oil Fund. Iron Kippa, Am Israel Chai, long live the Iranian people. Indeed. I'm going to get to that in a second, actually. Noam MKW, the tiny amount of casualties in Israel, although hurt, are truly miraculous. Well, I mean, you also have a very huge, very brutal defense system at work, which is really showing its strength right now. Hi from Israel. I'm honored to be here in a time like this. Am Israel, hi. Jimmy the Jew from Philly says, "Why is Dawa one big sausage party? And do you think we will finally come out when Nick Fuentes? They will finally come out when Nick Fuentes does. Yeah, they will. Most likely, they will." Morpheus, AP, and David Wood, what's your take on supersessionism? Seems like many nominal Christians use it to justify anti-Semitism. How should one respond to these views? I want to say very few words about this, but David, do you have anything to say about this first?
Yeah, I don't know how you would use that to justify anti-Semitism. You could have some replacement view. That's what that is. What would happen? You'd still be dealing with a bunch of people who are created in the image of God and have human rights. So that's the thing. And I've only explained like a million times. I'm not even thinking of the issue with Israel in terms of prophecy fulfillment and who has a divine right to land and stuff. I'm thinking in terms of like human rights and which local group is most likely to to support and defend the basic human rights of the people in the area. And it ain't Hamas, let me tell you that.
It ain't Hamas, and it ain't Iran. It ain't the Islamic Republic of Iran. So very few words on this. Supersessionism or not, honestly, doesn't really matter to me. But many people who use this kind of stuff, who use theology and who use things like, oh, Christians are the new Israel and all that, in order to hate on Jews, are just are not even doing it properly. I mean, even if you follow a supersessionist theology, that should not lead you to having anything against Jews. It is just people who want to hate on Jews use their theology as excuse in order to hate on Jews. You can completely believe in a theology where Jews have no modern relevance at all, and where theologically seen Christians are the new Israel and all that, while being also completely loving and supportive of Jews. So one does not lead to the other at all, but they use this as an excuse.
Yeah, and in other words, you could say that Israel has been replaced by the church. You, as a Christian, are still commanded to love your neighbor, to love everyone, including even your enemies, and to seek the good of all people. And so how would you say, oh, the church has replaced Israel, therefore we should all hate them? Where are you getting that from? Like chapter and verse?
Yeah. I mean, I would say lots of the Jews, lots of religious Jews who are in this, whom I love and that I'm friends with, would, for example, consider my religious beliefs mistaken and wrong, right? I would consider their religious beliefs at this stage mistaken and wrong. In my opinion, there is one Messiah that came, and we know who that is. It is Jesus, and that would mean that also this entails, as the Bible, as far as the Bible is concerned, as far as the New Testament is concerned, that things are changed, that the family of Israel is changed, and no longer. So I wouldn't share the whole the views that all of this is connected to end time prophecies, that Israel has some great role in the end time prophecies and all that. None of this has anything to do with theology. I still have lots of love and lots of respect for Jews. I still love them. I have some special love for them. And I also see that the Bible has special love for them. And looking at the Middle East, the one group that I will happily support over the others are the Jews. We have been there. I have interacted with Jews for many years now, interacted with Israel for many years now, with Israelis for many years now, and they are awesome, and they're doing a fantastic job. It is the country where Christians are flourishing in the Middle East. Not even the country that was previously Christian, Lebanon. Not even there are Christians as flourishing as they are in Israel. So Israel is the only place where Christians are treated well, where human rights exists, and so on. On the other hand, we have their enemies, their opponents, who are the Islamists, who are the Islamic terrorists, who are all about wanting to eradicate the Jews, and wanting to also not just eradicate the Jews, but also to attack all the others, including the Christians in the region. Israel protects Christians. Why in the world would I stand with the other side? I would rather stand with the Jews, who are actually civilized people and who also give goodness and who deserve goodness. I would say everyone deserves goodness, but unfortunately, the others are not very receptive of it. So that's that. I pray for everyone involved. Ivory Leviathan, remember when Sneeko took an IQ test and got 95? Stupid and gay bigly. I don't remember that at all. But you can't really rely on an online IQ test. So,
and 95 would not be stupid.
Yeah,
that would be in the average range.
Yeah, it would be slightly below average, but still within average. Yeah. Dave Long, how are we being hostage by crazy Muslims that control Iran, and why are we putting up with it? Thank you, Dr. Wood. We'll get to that in a second as well, but go ahead.
Yeah, that is the question. Why do you put up with this nonsense? Death to Jews, death to Israel, death to the United States of America. And then it's not like they don't act on it. They support and fund terrorist organizations all over the place to launch attacks. They do this they horribly oppress their own people. for things like not wearing hijabs, and they'll rape and kill women for this and so on. And they are very clear on their obsession with bringing about the end of the world and the Mahdi and so on. It's like, how do you point a finger at the Jews? Because they're the only ones willing to deal with the problem. Everyone else wants it. Let's negotiate and try to put it off for a few years until the next administration comes in and so on. Jews are like, yeah, how about we go ahead and deal with the problem and at least make sure they can't nuke us.
How about no?
Oh, shame on them. How dare you?
How about no? There's one account here saying this is wrong. Israel suppresses Christians.
Yeah, I was horribly oppressed while I was there.
Let's put aside anecdotal evidence, right? Let's put that aside, since nobody wants to buy it anyway. But there is a list of countries that are where Christians are vastly oppressed. And I also brought this up when I had my debate with Andrew Wilson. This is by the let's see if I can find that. I had downloaded that so quickly and printed it out for him. Open Doors, persecution by countries. There is a list of countries. Oh yeah, let's just look at this one. Okay, I don't need to go to the whole extensive list, but let's just look at this one. So here was a statistic by Open Doors. This is a Christian organization. The World Watch List is Open Doors' annual ranking of the 50 countries where Christians face the most extreme persecution. We can go through this list of countries where Christians are persecuted, and the persecution is ranked by high levels of persecution, very high levels of persecution, extreme levels of persecution. We can look at this map here and can look at all the countries that are listed. These are the top 50 countries where Christians are persecuted. You can see here that the entire Middle East is included in the list of countries where Christians are persecuted.
Yep, the entire Middle East, every last spot, everyone.
Yeah, except for very few countries here.
Oh, really? Oh, there's exceptions?
Now, here is one country that is suspiciously not on the list. Which country could that be? Let's get closer. Can I even get closer on this one?
Is it Pakistan? Is it Pakistan?
There's one country that is suspiciously sticking out as not being on the list here. What is that?
Is it North Korea?
What country is that? What could it be? In the middle of the Middle East, there is a country that is accused of being oppressor of Christians, but it's not even included in the top 50 countries that oppress. There are Christian countries that are included in countries that oppress Christians, man. There are Christian countries that are included in nations that oppress Christians. And Israel is not on the list. So please stop. Please stop with this ridiculous nonsense. Whatever you hear from dumb online memes funded by certain interests, stop with this nonsense, okay? The real facts are that in Israel, people are treated well and fairly, and especially Christians. In fact, you know what it says about Christians? Let me see.
You talking about that poll? You talking about that poll?
That too, but something else. But go ahead, continue, David. What are you saying?
Oh, I wanted to point out. So you'll have these guys. Oh, but think about what Israel's doing to Christians. They're destroying Christians. So as AP pointed out, Israel is the one country in the Middle East where Christianity is growing. You have polls about how about the satisfaction of various groups in Israel. Christian satisfaction in Israel, Christian happiness in Israel is very high. So you have that. There's that Christian, in other words, Christians themselves. I interviewed a Christian evangelist while I was there who's been doing evangelism in Israel for 20 years. He said things have only gotten physical one time, and it was with a radical group. So if you've ever whoever said that, who was whining about Israel, I'm sure is thinking of the videos where you have this one group that'll like spit in the direction of Christians and so on. It was that group that actually got physical with them. He said, but he said the people in general do not like those guys. Like the general population does not like these guys. But anyway, so things only got physical once in 20 years of evangelism. And he said that the general response he gets when he preaches the gospel to a Jew is they're interested. They actually want to hear him out. It's not everyone converting and stuff, but they're actually interested. Oh, really? You believe in Jesus? Why is that? And they'll sit there and listen to him and so on. So that's what you actually hear from people while you're there or from actual studies. AP pulls up Open Doors, which is an organization that compiles data about the persecution of Christians from around the world. Israel isn't anywhere on the list. It's not in the top 50. So no matter how you look at this, should that be your first go-to place to complain about as far as Christians? No, it should be one of the last places you complain about. And it's the first place you go. Why? Because you're just a bunch of evil scumbags who are like obsessed with hating Jews. That's it. That's it. That's the solution. Mystery solved. Why you're constantly fixated on Jews and Israel. You just don't like Jews. Bottom line. Because all the stuff you point out, we take a closer look and it's not there, which means you're making stuff up and you're delusional.
This is what happens when you don't listen to facts, but instead listen to random, ridiculous, dumb stuff that people say online. That's it. That's what happens. That is what happens. Literally what happens. In fact, Open Doors on their World Watch list has a whole thing of a point system where they have to give each country so many points in order to rank them among countries that can be at all considered countries where Christians are facing high levels of persecution. Israel doesn't make the list. And this organization records all kinds of oppression of Christians anywhere. So stop with your nonsense.
So you're saying the Jews hate Christians and want to destroy them? Exactly.
All right, let's look at what WXXWLZXX invite Armin Navabi. He has great insights on Iran.
That is true. We should get Armin on definitely at some point, and assuming he's not free right now. But yeah, Armin is the expert on all things Iran.
I'm going to ask him, what's up? Are you available?
So this is a different speech? This is a different video from yesterday? From the one yesterday?
Yes.
Different one?
Yes, okay. Yes. Wonder what Trump knows with him wanting to build the Golden Dome. Not to be confused with the Golden Show.
Mohammed Hijab wants a Golden Dome.
Jonathan Conricus is growing a beard. He is indeed. Now Kendrick Lamar is a loser. How dare you? Your favorite maid. He's a very good rapper. So that's all I care about. Anyway, let's watch this.
I want to start by wishing a double happy birthday. First, happy birthday to you, President Donald J. Trump.
These videos are always loud.
Wait, it's Trump's birthday. Hang on.
Wait now.
It's Trump's birthday. Ooh, yeah.
Why is this video quiet now? Let me see. Let me quickly download this video. And
hey, you should download it.
And we are back.
I want to start by wishing.
Okay, let's go.
A double happy birthday. First, happy birthday to you, President Donald J. Trump. You've been an extraordinary leader, decisive, courageous, clear vision, clear action. You have done great things for Israel. You've been an extraordinary friend to the Jewish state and to me personally. We've known each other for many years, and we appreciate what you're doing now, helping protect Israeli lives against the criminal regime in Iran.
Pause it.
I want to wish also.
Pause it. Oh, wait, he's saying something about 250th. I was going to anticipate because he's saying, I want to wish a double birthday. A double birthday. One to President Donald Trump. The other to the birth of the death day of the Iranian regime. That was going to be something cool like that. But anyway, he's apparently going in a different direction.
That would have been cool, but no, wrong.
A 250th happy birthday to the American Army. The men and women of the armed services of the United States have protected freedom for 2.5 centuries. We would not have a free world without you. Thank you on behalf of free peoples everywhere. Today, Israel is defending freedom in the Middle East and beyond. We're doing so against a tyrannical and...
Wait a minute. I want to do something very cool here. So here's Givubliet. Yeah, saying, can you Google dancing Israelis? Now, this is a very, very funny meme that comes up again and again.
Oh, we never heard of this one.
The Jews actually did 9/11. The Jews did 9/11.
And we know if someone is dancing, this means they carried out 9/11 and that it's done by the Israeli government.
Here, I Googled dancing Israelis. I googled dancing Israelis. First thing that comes up is the AI summary of responses, completely fact-based. No, I'm not talking to you, my AI system. The term dancing Israelis refers to a group of 5 Israeli men who were arrested in New Jersey on September 11, 2001. After the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center, they were initially detained on suspicion of suspicious behavior and filming the burning towers. Conspiracy theories later emerged, falsely claiming they were celebrating the attacks and were connected to Mossad. Wait a minute. It says falsely claiming.
Oh, that's weird.
You see, the Jews control AI.
The Israeli intelligence agency. These theories allege that they had prior knowledge of the attacks and were involved in orchestrating them. However, there is no evidence to support these claims, and the men were eventually released. The incident has become a recurring element in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories related to 9/11, with claims that Jews or Israelis had foreknowledge of the attacks and chose not to warn the U.S. government. These theories are widely considered to be anti-Semitic and based on misinformation and false narratives.
So, did that go the way you thought it would when you
I
thought?
googled it. Are you happy now?
Yeah. Keep in mind, you didn't even go anywhere else. They just Google it. That's like the war cry of the conspiracy. If you just Google it, you'll see. Okay, we Googled it. Now what? It said you're a conspiracy nut.
September 11 attacks, advanced knowledge conspiracy theories. Let's see. Dancing Israelis. The incident became, Israeli newspaper Haaretz reported that 4 hours after the attack, the FBI arrested 5 Israelis who had been filming the smoking skyline from the roof of a white van in the parking lot of an apartment building for puzzling behavior. They were charged with illegally residing in the United States and working there without permits. Now, here is my question to you, Mr. Idiot. Do you think if the Israelis had this elaborate plan, this elaborate plot to send over agents,
this brilliant Mossad plan,
and to carry out a terrorist attack or to film it somehow, do you think that the genius Mossad would do it in this way, that they send over a bunch of idiots, that they put them on top of a van and let them film things, that they let them celebrate, allegedly, which, by the way, never happened, and also that they sent them over without work permits and without a valid residence? Are you insane? Are you really this stupid?
I think yes. I think yes. So, okay. If you didn't understand the point, let's just say let's just put it all this together. So, Mossad, according to the theory, Mossad plans the 9/11 attack to cripple the American economy and to frame Muslims to get America to go hunt down and kill Muslims. And they say, okay, so we've got all this worked out. We've got everything worked out with the planes. We've smuggled in all these explosives into the buildings, but there's one more thing. There's one more thing we need to do. We need to send 5 Jews to stand on a white van and start dancing and shaking it and really get a bunch of attention for themselves and to be connected to Mossad and to show that they know what's about to happen and to be filming it and dancing it. That's what we need.
And now
for what? For what? What does that add to the plan?
Look at this. Now he's continuing to other conspiracy theories because this one has failed.
Can aluminum airplanes?
Yes, physics. It actually can.
Yes.
Imbecile.
And dummy. Hey, dummy. It's not aluminum airplanes. That's not how it works, dummy. It's the fuel in those airplanes. The fuel burns, and the fuel, it doesn't, keep in mind, it's not a high enough temperature to melt steel. It's a high enough temperature to weaken steel. And guess what's on top of the steel beams that are being weakened? A bunch of more huge building that weighs a ton. Matter of fact, I saw a video on this where the guy was like, okay, people are saying that this is, because that was the thing that was going around back then. Oh, but jet fuel doesn't burn hot enough to melt steel. You don't need to melt the steel. You need to weaken the steel. And it was actually a steel worker. He heats it up, and then he starts bending the steel. He goes, look, this is like a noodle right now. He's bending the steel back and forth. It's a noodle. This became a noodle when I heated it up. It became a noodle when I heated it up. He's bending.
Why don't you ask people who know their stuff, man? If you ask anybody who actually works with this kind of stuff, they will laugh at you and never make such a dumb claim. This guy actually imagines that,
oh, well, airplanes are mostly made of aluminum, and aluminum, when I take it, it just folds like this. So therefore, if airplanes fly into building, then it should go like and fall down. So why did this happen?
You absolute idiot, man. I mean, you have the thinking of a 2-year-old. So please stop.
Yeah. You people actually understand how strong like airplanes are? I mean, you've ever been in a plane where it's like going through severe turbulence and you're looking at the wings and they're like banging up and down. You're thinking this wing's about to fall off. It just doesn't.
But it's aluminum. When I touch aluminum foil, it just
when I
bends
grab
like
I could just rip aluminum foil with my hands. I could throw aluminum foil up against this concrete wall. It doesn't even go through. It doesn't even go through. So how would it ever crash into a building and go into the building? It doesn't make any sense.
You literally got videos of the plane crashing into a building. Do you think that's all made up?
So here's the funny thing about this. If Israel or any other intelligent nation at all wanted to conduct covert operations, the first thing they would want to make sure is that they have all their papers so that they cannot be easily caught and easily suspected and easily have their cover blown. And you dummy actually think that these guys were agents.
There's all kinds of stupid in the world, AP. All kinds of stupid. All
right. Peace be upon me says Khamenei and will catch Nasrallah. Inshallah, you see. Khamenei and will catch Nasrallah. Yeah. Sankey, what if Iran accidentally hits Al-Aqsa? There is a part of me that sometimes thinks, when I see videos of people inside Israel or next to Israel cheering on the missiles coming from Iran, there's a part of me that thinks Israel should just not intercept any of the missiles that fall toward those territories.
Well, it's kind of rough, man.
But then again,
that's old city of Jerusalem right there, man.
Yeah. But then again, that's the old me, so I don't want to think that anymore. So, Nurse loves coffee. Could you give a definition of a death cult for mom? Yeah, so a death cult for mom would be a death cult that creates a cult where people die for their moms. No, definition of a death cult. David, what's the definition of a death cult?
Just I mean, you have different meanings of death cult, but as we're using it, it's a cult that is obsessed with death and wants death for everyone. Like Hamas. Hamas, it's in their charter. They want death for their enemies, the Jews. So they say that they're obsessed with carrying out Muhammad's claim that the end's not going to come until the Muslims fight the Jews, and the Jews are hiding behind rocks and trees, and the rocks and trees are calling out, "Yeah, Muslim, there's a Jew behind me, come kill him." But in the very next article of their charter, it says that their highest goal is death for the sake of Allah. They want death for themselves. They want death for their enemies, death for themselves, death. They want everyone dead. That's a death cult. But Iran, in kind of a difference, they're trying to bring about the end of the world. Like, they would gladly sacrifice themselves, and they're trying to kill everyone that they hate. Death. Think about, what do you hear from these guys? Death to America, death to Israel, death. And they want to die, and they want everyone attacking them because they think it'll bring about the Mahdi. You could call it a doomsday cult if you want, but death cult, doomsday cult, it's the Iranian regime is all those things rolled into one. It's actually pretty cool because the people see it. And I'm sure you've seen it, AP, but you have tons of people in Iran who are actually cheering for Israel. They're rooting for Israel in this.
Yeah. Lika Elishkov, I was in my bomb shelter a few minutes ago. The booms I heard were insane. I live next to Bat Yam. I literally thought my house exploded. Yeah. Stay safe there. I had messages from Rebecca. Rebecca, are you here? Are you watching? I know Rebecca is actually in a shelter as we speak, so she was messaging me earlier as well.
Hey, Rebecca, you got internet in there? You should go live. You should go live from inside.
You should go live from the shelter.
That would be super base.
Very, very powerful.
Anyway, join us live, Rebecca. Anyway,
let us continue.
Radical Iranian regime that wants to build atomic bombs to destroy us, and wants to build ballistic missiles, including intercontinental ballistic missile, to be able to threaten anyone and everywhere in the world. By defending ourselves, we're also defending others. We're defending our Arab neighbors, our Arab friends in peace. We're defending Europe. We're helping defend also the United States, which helps us all the time in our defense. This is an important mission. Right now, the Iranian regime is bombing our civilian neighborhoods while we are targeting the terrorists. Now, this is not new. They've tried to assassinate President Trump twice. They bombed American embassies.
This is the funniest thing to me, man. There are people going around saying, "Oh, Iran is not the Islamic regime of Iran is not our enemy. What have they ever done to us?" We literally have American intelligence. American intelligence, by the way, under still when Joe Biden was president, and also after the presidency of Donald Trump, which is quite clear that the Islamic regime of Iran has been involved in assassination attempts of Donald Trump. And they also say death to America, death to England, death to Israel all the time. And these people are fighting proxy wars. They have killed hundreds of American troops in the past as well. So let's see. Okay.
They killed 241 Marines in Beirut. They killed and injured thousands of Americans with their IEDs in Iraq and Afghanistan. They burn the American flag. They chant endlessly, "Death to America." Our enemy is your enemy. And by doing what we're doing, we're dealing with something that will threaten all of us sooner or later. Our victory will be your victory. How do we intend to achieve that victory? Well, we've already done great things. We've taken out their senior military leadership. We've taken out their senior technologists who are leading the race to build atomic weapons that would threaten us, but not only us. We've done all that and many other things. But we are also aware of the fact that there's more to be done. So we're preparing. We paved the way to Tehran, and our pilots over the skies of Tehran will deal blows to the Ayatollah regime that they cannot even imagine. And I can tell you this. We have indications.
Pay attention to this part now. Pay attention to this part now. To what he's saying right now. I heard this earlier and I thought, whoa, wait, what does that mean?
Have indications that senior leaders in Iran are already packing their bags. They sense what's coming.
Let's listen to that again. What does that mean?
That means replacing the regime.
Let's listen to it again.
We have indications that senior leaders in Iran are already packing their bags. They sense what's coming.
Now, here was the thing. As soon as I heard this, I thought, oh, okay, we got to talk about this, man. Because what he's saying here, now, what exactly is true and where they are running and what's happening, all of that aside, but just him saying this here points at something greater than just striking certain targets in Iran. Right? Him saying this, that there are indications that that leaders in the Islamic regime of Iran are already packing their bags to flee because they sense what is coming, indicates that that Israel does have it in their cards and in their plans to not only blow massive strikes to Iran's military facilities and nuclear facilities and other things. So not only to cripple the Islamic regime, but also to once and for all put an end to the Islamic regime by forcing the Islamic regime to disappear or to directly go in and overthrow the Islamic regime of Iran. And Israel is also very close to Reza Pahlavi, who is the son of the former Iranian Shah, the former Iranian monarch, the former Iranian king. And he has been forever advocating for Israel and other nations to help, and has been appealing to the Iranian people for the longest time to rise up against the Islamic regime and to establish a proper democracy where the Iranian people are no longer oppressed, where they can finally take matters into their own hands, where the Islamist regime, the Islamist death cult of Iran is finally gotten rid of. So that guy, the son of the Shah, is and the heir to the throne, whom some people want to install as monarch once again, but who himself says he doesn't want a monarchy, he wants democracy. He is very, very much close and in contact with Israel, also has been at Israeli organized events and all that. So when Netanyahu says this, it sounds like among the plans is not just the crippling of the Islamic regime of Iran, but also the targeting of Iran's regime in order to end them and to change Iran forever.
Yeah, I can see a couple possibilities. So they're fleeing because they know we're going to replace them, or they're fleeing because they know they're not safe there. Like, as we're kind of going down the list of people we're going to take out with airstrikes, these guys realize there's nowhere they can really run and hide unless they just get out of the entire country. Why? Because even if they have places they can run and hide, we obviously have spies there. Like, we obviously have spies who are following guys around. That's how they were able to take out a ton of people, a ton of specific individuals already. They know they're being watched. And so they're like, hey, we have to just completely get out of here. But also, I mean, seriously, seems like the most likely thing as far as why these dudes would want to flee is they understand if the Israeli Air Force is blowing up all these targets, if you get the uprising from the people, and Israel just blew up the only airport you could leave from, you're going to be trapped with these people. You're going to be trapped with a population that hates you and is not going to be nice after you like we're raping and killing their daughters and stuff like that for not wearing a hijab. They're not, if they get a hold of you, they're not going to treat you nicely. They're gonna torture the crap out of you before killing you. So these guys might just be, you know what? Sounds like they don't know what's going to happen, and they just realize we're better off outside of our own countries here. So we're going to run to where are they going to run? Either Russia. Probably Russia. I would suspect they would run to Russia. But,
They would all run to Russia.
Yeah, they're going to run to Russia and hide in Russia, realizing that Iran is no longer safe for them. But keep in mind, man, if the remaining people from the regime all run to Russia, how long is that regime going to last in Iran? Not long, man. Not long.
We have different things here related to what you just said. Israel confirms Mossad teams are operating inside Iran. So
I always feel like the Jews are watching me, so I'm gonna run to Russia. Oh.
So you have Mossad agents directly operating inside Iran, and probably also lots of assets that are in there operating lovingly on behalf of Israel. So Wall Street Journal says that the Israeli attacks are leaving Khamenei completely exposed with no options left. His leadership is crumbling and dying. They are being replaced, but the replacement is being targeted as well. It's actually more brutal than what Israel did to Hezbollah. This is like, it's more brutal and more striking, stronger than what Israel did to Hezbollah. Hezbollah was taken out very, very quickly, but with Iran, it's like Israel had enough reasons to just go and send the Air Force over and establish dominance, superiority, to send in all the spies and all the forces. They're doing the job, man.
Hey, check out the comment from Rebecca.
Yeah, the series Tehran was also filmed in Iran. We run the place. We run the place. So here's Reza Pahlavi. This article by JNS says Iranian opposition calls to overthrow the mullahs. Exiled figures say Israel's targeted strikes are the regime's fault.
And they love that dude.
Liberation.
The people love that dude.
The people love this guy. Leading Iranian opposition figures called Friday on their countrymen to bring down the Islamic regime through civil disobedience and amid its war with Israel. These calls, including by exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, followed Israel's strikes on Iranian military and nuclear sites, which killed some of the regime's senior officials and nuclear scientists. Netanyahu said, I believe the day of your liberation is coming soon. So he, the crown prince, the exiled crown prince, is directly calling on the people, the Iranian people, to rise up and to put an end to the Islamic regime of Iran. He's directly involved, directly trying to. Here you have another article by France 24.
This is the time for it. This is the time to do it, man. The time is now. Dude,
Yeah.
do you realize we can see the fall of the Iranian regime? And like, I'm not saying it will happen. I mean, like within the next couple of days. I believe it's going to happen within the next couple of years, regardless. But we could actually see it in like the next couple of days, just like with Syria. Keep in mind, we are no fans of the people who took over in Syria, tons of evil jihadis and so on. But I'm just talking about, hey, you have a regime that's in power, and a bunch of forces are coming at it that they can't deal with, and so they're getting the heck out of there. You're already seeing they're fleeing. Leaders are packing their bags to leave Iran, like the leaders of the Assad regime were packing their bags to get out of Syria.
Yeah.
Could see this in the next couple of days. You can see the collapse of the Iranian regime. That's huge, man.
The thing that is, there are sirens again in Tel Aviv. The thing with Iran is also it's very different from Iraq and Afghanistan, for example, where first off, Israel wouldn't be as I'm going to diss America now, but
America.
But whenever America intended to do some regime change, they got way too involved and thought that they are supposed to be in charge of making everything perfect. Pretty sure Israel wouldn't do any such thing. Israel would just take out the regime and hand it over to those who actually want it.
They don't even have to hand it over anything. Yeah. If they just take out a bunch of leaders, if they do exactly what they're doing right now, and leaders are terrified, and the remaining leaders are like, we have to get out of here. The people will do the rest. The people.
But
and
the thing is also
that's kind of what needs to happen, man. It's got to be
different. Is also that with Iraq and Afghanistan, for example, these are two countries where the Islamic regime was very popular, or the Islamic governments were very popular. In Iraq and in Afghanistan, Islamism and terrorism were very popular things. In Iraq, you had a secularist in charge who was overthrown, and the Islamists took advantage of it and started creating terrorist organizations and fighting and all that. In Afghanistan, it was even worse. In Iran, you don't really have that. In Iran, you don't have big numbers of people who actually want to create terrorist organizations and fight against the West. The only people that would be fighting in Iran would be the people who are so sick of being oppressed by the Islamic regime. And that is the one thing that I'm kind of a little bit concerned about. I feel like if the Iranian people start rising up and taking the power, they will unleash some of their anger on the Islamic regime people who have oppressed them and who have told them for decades now what they can and can't do.
That's why they're leaving, man. That's why some of these guys are like, we're getting out of here. We're not falling into the people's hands here. So yeah, there is. That's just standard. If you oppress people horribly for a long time, what did they do with Gaddafi when they got him? And they were like shoving things up his butt and stuff like that. It was pretty brutal.
I would have to say Iranians are a little bit more civilized, but yeah.
Yeah, and so with the situation with like Iraq and Afghanistan, if you have a country with tons and tons of Muslims in it, regardless of their background, you can't be the administration that's installed and supported by the United States of America. You can't be. There's always going to be a problem. People are always going to have a problem with you, and they're not going to respect you, and are going to view you as like the puppet government of the United States or something like that. That's why it's got to be the people themselves. It's got to be the people themselves who take over. But gosh, that looks like we could be days away of seeing this. That would be crazy. I mean, they still have to form a government and so on, but their chances of forming a successful government are significantly better than other places because they have a leader sort of waiting. They have a potential leader who can just walk in and take over the government right now.
Yup, that's true. Yeah, let's play some more of this.
We have indications that senior leaders in Iran are already packing their bags. They sense what's coming.
They're packing their sesame seed oil.
We had information that this unscrupulous regime was planning to give the nuclear weapons that they would develop to their terrorist proxies. That's nuclear terrorism on steroids. That would threaten the entire world. This is what Israel is doing with the support, the clear support of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and the American people, and many others in the world. So with God's help, and with the goodwill and resolution of all free societies, we shall win.
Base it. So that's what it looks like right now. That is what
Go
it looks
BB,
like.
go BB, go. Go.
Donald
BB,
Trump
go,
also
BB,
made
go.
a statement and said that he was fully aware of what Israel is planning, and he said that he supports what Israel is doing, and that there is even more to come if Iran doesn't get their senses together and make a deal. So Trump seems to be completely. I bet that Israel did take this step after they confirmed with Trump and also got from Trump
Of course.
the okay.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. And for Trump, I mean, he still may be thinking in terms of like working out a deal or something like that and be like, yeah, it's a good idea. This will really put the pressure on them to get to the table and make a deal. Whereas the rest of us are like, collapse, regime, collapse.
Yes.
But yeah,
Now,
Trump would be like, I gave you 60 days. I said you had 60 days to come to the table or there would be consequences. Now you're getting the consequences. Now you're going to understand that you need to come to the table when I say, and so let's get together and negotiate this. And other people, let's just go ahead and get a fresh start in Iran with a new government.
Now, there are some reports, according to Axios and others, that Israeli officials have asked over the last 48 hours America to directly get involved and help in the bombing of military and nuclear facilities inside Iran in order to get the job done quickly and to help the people to rise up. And I guess there is one thing that I kind of agree with the non-interventionist people on, which is that I'm not sure how far it is a good idea for the United States to be directly involved. Also, because when the United States is directly involved, it usually brings more responsibility, more global scrutiny, more the need to do the right thing and all that. With Israel acting on their own, I think there is less of that, and they can just continue and do whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, I would agree. And like it's in this situation, it's kind of better to have the United States as like a deterrent from escalation, like other nations who, I mean, again, it's not going to be Russia or something like that, but just as a possible deterrent for anyone else who wants to get involved. Guys, keep in mind the United States, we're sitting back. Why? Because we're gonna let Israel and Iran handle this themselves. Israel's obviously going to crush them, going to get a new regime and so on. But we're not involved now. We're not involved. As long as no one else gets involved, we're gonna stay out of it.
There's one report which is that Putin, the devil of Europe, spoke to Trump and
dork.
And condemns Israel's strikes on Iran. Kremlin says it says further. Vladimir Putin condemned Israel military operation against Iran.
He shed the big tears, like a big bottle of vodka tears.
Expressed serious concern about the possible escalation of the conflict, which would have unpredictable consequences for the entire situation in the Middle East, Yushakov told the reporters.
No, we can predict the consequences. We can predict the consequences. You, Putin, keep your vodka and your what do they eat over there, man? Borscht or some crap. Anyway, yeah, keep all your stuff out of here. Mind your own business. Focus on your own war, where you've been attacking a country for like the last 50,000 years and still can't win. Why don't you keep your pie hole shut and just take the fleeing regime into Moscow and take care of them for the rest of their lives, like you're doing with Assad.
The Russian president recalled that prior to the current rise in tension, our side had proposed concrete steps intended to find mutually acceptable agreements during talks between U.S. and Iranian representatives about the Iranian nuclear program. Well, Iran clearly doesn't care.
Yeah,
But,
playtime's over. Playtime's over. The
over,
talk,
right?
time for talk, that's gone. That's gone, buddy.
It's over.
That's
boy.
gone. Now
It's
it's hunting down the leaders and bombing the crap out of anything that looks like a nuclear facility and regime change. That's where we're at right now. So Putin, your only role right now is to take in the fleeing leaders of Iran as they run for their lives. That's your job right now.
And Donald Trump responded to this by saying,
President Putin. All right, you want me to go?
Yeah.
President Putin called this morning to very nicely wish me happy birthday. He always calls me on my birthday. Really loves it. Sent me a beautiful gift. Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. Lovely bottle of vodka. Not too big on vodka, but they're over there. So, we'll take it. But to more importantly, talk about Iran. Don't know if you've been following there. Big situation, big things, big changes, things changing bigly. Talk about Iran, a country he knows very well. Yes, they've been supporting the regime there. Really should be supporting us, should be supporting me. But they decided to support Iran. It's their mistake. People make mistakes. We talked at length. Much less time was spent talking about Russia and Ukraine, but that will be for next week. We're going to have to talk about this after he sees the collapse of Iran. He's going to think he's going to get on board. We're going to get him to the table. He is doing the planned prisoner swaps. The swaps, love the prisoner swaps. Large numbers of prisoners are being exchanged immediately from both sides. We're bringing peace to the world. That's what happens when you have a strong president like me. The call lasted approximately 1 hour. 1 hour. It's a good call. He feels, as I do, this war in Israel-Iran should end, in which I explained his war should also end. See what I did there? I flipped it right back on him. That's what I do. Champion negotiator. That's why I wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. Be sure to get it on Amazon.
this is actually kind of nice. He feels, as do I, this war in Israel, Iran should end, to which I explained his war should also end. That's actually kind of funny. You know what I find so embarrassing about Truth Social, which I never use, and which only 60-year-old and 70-year-old people use? Like, you get to the comment section, and it's like a bunch of sycophants. Like,
Raise your hand if you think Donald Trump is the best president ever in history.
like, shut up, man.
This is funny. What's wrong with you, man? People can't even wish Trump a happy birthday. What kind of sicko are you? There's the man right there.
And here we have Reza Pahlavi, the crown prince, who says the Islamic Republic and its incompetent and criminal leaders have dragged Iran into war. Here is my message to my compatriots. Iran belongs to you, and reclaiming it is in your hands.
It is in your hands. You have the ability to reclaim Iran right now. You have the power, and this guy can roll in like, what, can I get a what? He could just roll right up in there. And then you're going to have, at his suggestion, the Cyrus Accords, the agreement between Iran and
Umar Mujahid says, I'm so tired of seeing my tax dollars going to Israel. So now, shut up. Your name is Umar Mujahid.
I just want my tax dollars going to Hamas.
So, once again, shut up. Your name is Umar Mujahid. Secondly, your tax dollars are not going to Israel, even if you are an American.
He said Israel's. Which Israel's is he talking about?
I don't know.
How many Israels are there? Omar Mujahid. And besides, little side note, Umar. It's always relevant discussion. People who pay taxes should have some say in where those taxes go and so on. As for you, We seriously don't care what you. Anyone whose name is Mujahid, we seriously do not care what you think about where tax money is going.
Honestly, I pay taxes, and I'm happy with some of my of 0.1% of the taxes going to Israel. So,
If my taxes somehow fund a plane and a rocket that is being used to take out an insane death cult's ability to build a nuclear weapon, that's money well spent. I'd much rather have my money go to something like that than the other insane things they spend our tax money on.
I actually had AI make a calculation for me, which I went through with it to calculate how much exactly of U.S. aid that goes to Israel actually stays in Israel.
It's like 90% of all our money goes to Israel.
Now, I don't want to go through the whole thing, but the conclusion of it was for every $100 paid in federal taxes, approximately 5 to 7 cents stays in Israel. So, so the portion that stays in Israel is 0.053 to 0.06% of the total U.S. budget. This is literally what happens. Because the majority of the money, the majority of the aid that we give to Israel actually returns to the United States, to U.S. industries. Then there is another part of it which actually comes back again to the United States. A very tiny amount actually stays there. Oh, this is in Iranian, in Persian, with subtitles. Sorry to all those who can't read it.
Well, just read it out loud, AP.
My fellow compatriots, the Islamic Republic and its incompetent and criminal leaders, what, don't you understand Persian, man? Uncultured people. Have dragged our Iran into war and are responsible for the current situation. After decades of corruption, incompetence, and oppression, this regime is now at its most fragile and weakest state.
It is.
Yet, its ultimate collapse can only be achieved through the powerful hands of the great Iranian nation. Iran belongs to you, and you're claiming it is in your hands. Every act of defiance by you.
That's what he said. Passive resistance, not showing up to work, working less, arriving late, all that stuff. That's passive resistance. You're not actually fighting. But guess what? You got a regime that's struggling, and millions of people say, you know what? We're not doing anything. We're just going to sit at home until all this boils over. You are causing serious problems for the regime, which cannot handle more problems right now.
All of those things can deliver an effective blow to the weakened body of this regime. He did not say weakened regime. He said weakened regime, weakened body of this regime. Together, side by side, we will prevail. And this part is now really, really good. He's now directly appealing to those who serve loyally to the Islamic regime, to the military police, and security forces. I say,
switch sides. That's what I would say. Switch sides now.
Detach yourselves from this regime.
Switch sides.
And join the people.
The only way you survive. Switch sides now, and you will be forgiven for defending them to begin with. Switch sides now.
I think he doesn't really go for the to survive, but rather to do what's right. But that's the psychopath in you talking, David.
I'd say switch sides now, or when you don't, we are going to hunt you down and do really bad stuff to you, and you are butt. Hey, yeah. Switch sides now, or we're going to hand you over to the people. And these are the people whose daughters you guys were, raping and killing and stuff like that. So just think about what they're going to do to you. Switch sides now. It's your only chance.
Yep.
و به مردم بپیوندید. از جانب شما مردم به جامعه جهانی میگویم.
On your behalf, I say to the international community,
به جای مماشات با رژیم اسلامی از
instead of appeasing the Islamic regime, support the Iranian
Stop negotiating with this stupid regime. Support the
مردم
people.
ایران حمایت کنید. پاینده ایران زنده باد ملت
May Iran endure forever. Long live the Iranian nation.
ایران.
I want to hear that in Persian again.
پاینده ایران زنده باد ملت ایران.
Beast.
Just weird that he makes this entire video. It's a lot of background noise, man. We can fix that for you. We can fix that. Send us your video next time ahead of time, and we can remove background noise for you.
Yeah, I could remove it right there.
Wow.
That's a nice
Everything's lining up, man. Everything's lining up. Can you imagine how much this is going to suck for Syrian girl and all these people if they
attack the Jews? Go ahead, go Syria, go Hezbollah, go.
And like the result of all of this is the toppling of Syria and Iran.
You see. Hey,
Hey, you know what's weird about Iranians, Persians? Yes. You know what's weird about Persians? They drink this drink. I had it once. It was terrible. It's like a yogurt soda. It's a soda. It's bubbly like soda, but it's yogurt based. It's a yogurt soda. It was disgusting. Isn't that weird?
Was it called Iran?
I don't know. It was yogurt soda. Like, oh, you should try this. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try. That's what it was like.
What did it look like? This here?
Probably. That was a while back. Yeah, it's basically it was yogurt soda. Again, it's fizzy. It's fizzy like soda, but it's yogurt, and it was totally disgusting.
It's funny because this is Turkish drink.
Turks are.
This is a Turkish drink, and I always thought this is the most disgusting thing ever.
Smart,
but people love it. People love it. People absolutely love it.
But
it sometimes does go well with some meaty, fatty fast food, but it is pretty disgusting otherwise.
It's pretty nasty, man.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. Iran posted this video to show the world how powerful they are. We showed the world what happens when you mistake propaganda for strength. The Iranian chief of staff and commander of the RGC featured in this Iranian propaganda video has been eliminated and the site has been struck.
Oh, hang on. They're saying it's called Doog. Everyone's saying it's called Doog.
What is Doog?
That's what they're saying the yogurt drink was.
The heck is Doog, man?
I don't know. That's the Iranian name for it.
Doog? Doog is a cold and savory Iranian drink. It is made with fermented milk, unlike its sister beverage of Turkish origin, Iran. Doog is not diluted yogurt. Doog is a cold and savory Iranian drink. It is made with fermented milk. That sounds even more disgusting, man.
It's pretty gross.
That sounds even worse.
It's pretty bad.
Heck? That's disgusting.
Fermented milk.
That's disgusting, man.
It's pretty bad.
What are you people drinking? What's wrong with you?
I'm laid back, so I'll try anything. Like, oh, you should try this. Okay, I'll take it.
Have you seen the footage of people in so we are in danger, this is an emergency, we need help? Melanie Schweitzer, one of the organizers of the global march to Gaza, reports on the situation after Egyptian authorities and police attacked activists headed to Rafah border.
That whole situation was like hilarious, man.
The activists were then forcibly put in a bus and are being escorted by Egyptian security forces. These absolute idiots.
Yeah, the reason that was so hilarious is just like, okay, well, Israel will stop a boat from getting there. So what we will do is we'll go to our Egyptian friends and we'll go through Egypt and we'll get to the border with Egypt and then we'll enter that way. And the Egyptians like, no, you're not. There's all these videos of them like whining. Think about we were trying. It's like, dude. You are trying that mess with the wrong people. That crap works in Western nations. That's not going to work outside the West.
If you want to do some stupid pro-Palestine stuff, I'm going to tell you one thing: Israel is going to treat you better than the neighboring Arab countries.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be stupid, man. In the West, you can be a spoiled brat and you can go and do whatever you want, and then make videos and cry about it and get sympathy from social media, and then the authorities in charge will be like, "Oh, okay, we apologize, we went too far." In Egypt, nobody cares. Nobody cares, and the authorities don't care about your tears. The authorities don't care about your social media posts. The authorities don't care about your sentiments. They really do not care. They will beat you and kick you out. So please, if you're a Western pro-Palestine activist, do go to Egypt and do try to act like you're in the West. Please do it and face the consequences in the real world.
This is an emergency. We have just been violently dragged into the buses here at the first checkpoint on the way to
Greta's mom.
We were sitting quietly and not doing anything. We were debating that we would leave soon in taxis back to Cairo because we did not break any law. And all of a sudden,
we did not break any law. They were literally there to walk to the Rafah gate, to the Rafah border, in order to break the barriers and to ask for things to be taken down. You are not in a Western country. In the West is stupid. In the stupid West, you can do whatever you want, and there will be very little consequences. You cannot do something like this in an Arab nation. If they actually let you through to the border and you try to do your stupid stunts at the border, there would be much more serious consequences. You absolute idiots.
Several people stormed in and they started to push people and drag them violently outside. They have beaten people. I have seen one woman that was beaten in her face in front of me.
Good.
They didn't leave time to grab the luggage or anything.
Good.
Now we're beaten, and this is the bus is now full of people.
Good.
I hope no one is seriously injured.
You'll be fine. It's just a little simple beating, you dummy.
This is a very shocking incident.
Good.
Stop. Thank you.
What?
So this is one of the Secret Service people that was just walking in here. I have to stop this live stream now. We are in danger.
We're in danger.
We're feeling really bad. We're feeling really bad for you. You're a bunch of Hamas supporting lunatics who want Israel wiped off the map. And when you can't get in, you decided to go through Egypt, not realizing Egypt doesn't want anyone getting out of Gaza because they understand what they're dealing with. They understand they're not on the side of the terrorists. They understand they're dealing with complete lunatics, and they understand that you're trying to help the lunatics, which makes you lunatics by association. They're not interested. You will find a way more sympathetic ear in Western nations than you will in Egypt. So give that nonsense up. And you just embarrassed yourself. By the way, dude, seriously, they just massively embarrassed their cause, right?
Yeah.
Because, hey, we'll go down and we'll cross the border and we'll get plenty of attention for ourselves. And all you did is show that Muslims want nothing to do with these terrorists. A Muslim nation wants nothing to do with this stuff, and they're not going to let you go there either. And so, in other words, you will complain, oh, look, Israel's stopping us from going in. Egypt is stopping you from going in. They don't want you to help. They don't want you to help Hamas. They don't.
This hysterical, dramatic behavior. We are in danger. You're not in danger. You're just being told. For the first time in your life, for the first damn time in your life, you are actually dealing with people who will not just let you do whatever you want to do. For the first time in your life, you are actually being treated like an adult that needs to be told, hey, You can't act like a little child here. Here's your slap in your face, and here's your kick in your butt. Get out of here. For the first time in your life, because you are entitled brats, no matter how old you are in the West, in this culture where you can do whatever the heck you want. Now you're going to the Middle East, and now you're facing real consequences out there in the real world. For the first time in your life, you actually have to take responsibilities and face the consequences of your actions. But you are little children. You are like 12-year-old little children. So when you once in your life, for the first time in your life, get told you are not allowed to do this, get out of here, you think, oh no, I am in danger. You're not in any danger. Grow the hell up.
This live stream now. We are in danger. This is an emergency. We need help.
How do you want us to help you? Do you want us to invade Egypt? Do you want us to invade Egypt to keep them from sending you back to where you came from? Do you want us to do that? Do you think we're going to do that? Idiots.
Here she is. No. I said that she's not in any danger. And here she is. She posted 4 hours ago. She's totally fine. She has been deported. And is totally fine and still continues with her idiocy, with her stupidity. Here she is actually accusing somebody else of supporting genocide. Oh, dumbass. These stupid people. Oh, here. Here, this is the meme. Look at this.
Yep.
Pro-Hamas when they arrive in Israel versus when they arrive in Egypt. Seriously, when you're pro-Hamas, you're treated like a proper human in Israel. When you're pro-Hamas and you arrive in Egypt, you're kicked in the face, kicked in your butt, and kicked out. As it should be. As it should be. As it should be. As you should. Updates. Let's see live updates. 4 new updates on New York Times. A research center, the Weizmann Institute of Science, a prominent Israeli university in Rehovot in central Israel, sustained severe damage and caught fire after an Iranian strike. A research center at the Weizmann Institute of Science at the Israeli University in Rehovot sustained severe damage and caught fire. Alan Monziani, a 31-year-old PhD student from Italy living in a dorm at the institute, said he was shaken by the destruction he saw when he stepped out of a shelter. One side of the Cancer Research Center was missing most of its walls. Yeah, this is what Iran is hitting in Israel. This is what Iran is hitting in response to their military targets being taken out. At least one woman in her 60s died after an Iranian missile struck a building in Bat Yam, a city near Tel Aviv, in the latest wave of attacks on Israel, according to Magen David Adom, the country's national emergency service. This brings the total of people killed overnight in the strikes to 4. The 3 others earlier were in Tamra, an Arab town in northern Israel. Okay, so Tamra is over here. Didn't they put this on a map? Apparently they don't care. What to know about the missiles that Iran is firing at Israel? Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel has said that the sweeping attacks on Iran that began early Friday are essential to cripple what he describes as not one but 2 existential threats to his country. Alongside Iran's nuclear program, which Mr. Netanyahu has warned about for decades, he cites a newer menace: Iran's ballistic missiles, more than 200 of which have been launched against Israel in waves of retaliatory barrages this weekend. Even as Israel has pummeled Iran with its own sophisticated missiles, setting oil facilities in Tehran ablaze, it still fears Iran's capacity for fierce retaliation. I wouldn't really call it fierce, but yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call this one fear, but this one is indeed fierce. I don't know. In a video statement on Friday night, Mr. Netanyahu said Iran had accelerated production and aimed to manufacture 300 ballistic missiles a month, which would amount to 20,000 missiles within 6 years. He said each one was like a bus full of explosives primed to land on Israeli cities. They fired 200 missiles and so on. Rescue workers scanning an Iranian missile impact site in Rishon LeZion, Israel. Rishon LeZion in Israel. Yeah, there is for the first time significant damage in many, many decades in Israel as a result of fires from a different country. Nurse Love Coffee, could you give a definition of death guilt? I already read this. What's wrong with you? Fujin said, with the hidden drone trucks in Iran and Russia, people are questioning if there are any in the US. Good question. We'll find out when war happens. Noam MKW, careful of Iran's army of Pakistani jihad bots. Nigel, good job in your debate against Andrew Wilson, but I think you cheated by drinking a vial of magic tubelite before the debate. I did, actually. Thank you. Celeria Rosencrow, watching this while my mother and father are still being silly and watching the 250th anniversary army parade rather than the much more important coverage of our 5th World War III. How silly, eh? Yeah.
It has been a lot of World War IIIs lately.
Yeah, that's true. Didi's Design, I too love Israel, traveled there to get baptized in the Jordan. Thank you both for all your content. That's very, very super based. Thank you. Appreciate that. Israel is awesome. Motherholder, are the North Irish protests riots because of Islam? Do you know if the 2 Romanian boys were Muslim? I do not know. I have no idea. No idea what's going on there. Michael Barr, when I saw the vid of Iran regime racing to the getaway jets, I thought, hit it Mohammed. So people have been saying this. I haven't seen it yet, but I gotta look it up here for a second. People have been saying this. I haven't seen it. I gotta look it up. Is there any reference to that? Anyone pointing at anything here? Yesterday, reports said Khamenei has fled to Mashhad, northeast of Iran. Iran's leaders are fleeing. So there are some records of planes belonging to the Iranian regime fleeing. There is a video of supposedly Iranian families fleeing to Russia, but I'm not sure if that's authentic. But there might be indications that certain people from Iran are fleeing. And it wouldn't be very uncommon of a totalitarian government to flee the region. Yeah. I don't see any official confirmations, so I can't really say anything about this. I see one video that is supposedly an old video, actually. Okay. Intellectual Iconoclasm says, did AP just pose the Persian question to David? Did I? What's the Persian question? What was this? This was 2 hours ago, 1.5 hours ago. I have no idea what I asked then. Daniel Villanueva says, are you trying to say the Iran's government is full of Shiite? Yeah, the Iran's government is completely Shiite. Judas I Scared Not says, I knew Israel was behind Vader and the Empire. They were indeed. Dixian says, I read Jeremiah 49 verses 34 to 39, Southwest Iran Elam. David, what were you looking at? What are your findings?
I'm looking up. Apparently, it's 2 Romanians. Someone was asking if the people that are being protested about in Ireland were Muslim. That would be surprising because they're Romanian. And as far I think it's I can't find anything yet, but I'm looking. So it looks like they're Romanians who did something, and that a general thing against immigration is coming out, but I see no details released on these guys.
I actually want to look at a few very stupid takes that we have seen over the last days, such as this one here. Where is it? Where is it? This one here. So John Spencer, who is an expert in urban warfare, responded to Piers Morgan, who is one of the worst people in terms of his commentary on all of this. Here's Piers Morgan saying, what's baffling to me is how Mossad can plan the Hezbollah pager attack and now this extraordinarily precise attack on Iran's nuke sites and experts, but had no idea Hamas was building a tunnel terror network for 18 years on its doorstep, nor planning October 7. Here's the thing. There are actually 6,000 people who liked this. I can't comment because Piers Morgan blocked me. But how in the world does he follow a conflict and then comes up with this ridiculous line here? He thinks that Israel had no idea, supposedly, that Hamas was building a tunnel terror network for 18 years on its doorstep. Whoever said this?
Yeah, no one. That's who.
Israel knew forever
Of course they did.
that Hamas was building tunnels, and they have also said it consistently that they are building tunnels. In fact, this is one of the most common narratives, which is proven completely true, that Israel has said from the very beginning, which is that Hamas steals funds and uses them to build underground networks to wage terrorism against Israel.
Hey, there's a community note there, man.
And here is a community note that is currently being evaluated. Israel has incorrect. Israel has long been aware of Hamas's tunnel network and had taken multiple steps in the past to disrupt it. Indications are that Israel was aware of a big Hamas operation but didn't take it seriously or believe they had the capability.
Yeah, if I thought someone couldn't launch a successful attack on me, and you're saying, oh, they're building a bunch of tunnels, I would say, build all the tunnels you want. As long as you can't attack me, I don't care. You could build 1 trillion miles of tunnels. I do not care.
So this guy just came up with a completely random, stupid thing that nobody ever said, commenting on the conflict here. And people actually listen to this guy, man. This is so ridiculous. John Spencer said, thank you, Piers Morgan. You couldn't do more to show the world you know nothing about war, Middle East, Lebanon, Gaza, Iran, Israel, strategy, military tactics. Let me help you again. Israel disengaged from Gaza in 2005. Hamas attacked. Wall went up. Iron Dome. Strategy of containment enacted. Iran and Lebanon are not a closed, full radicalized societies where penetrating networks are more difficult. Iran distinguishes military and national security positions from civilians. Iran does not deploy a human sacrifice strategy, hoping to get as many civilians killed to achieve their political goals. Iran does not build all military sites under hospitals, in schools, under all populated areas. Iran does not deploy child soldiers. On and on and on. There you go. Absolute idiot, Piers. How is this guy a commentator? How does anybody take this guy seriously at this point? And then you have people marching with Iran flags in the UK, in London. Meanwhile, in Iran, they're saying death to England. But we know that these people don't actually care about their own countries. Here's also another point. Since many people have pointed out and said, oh, so Israel is capable of carrying out precision strikes, then why did they have to flatten all those buildings in Gaza? Now, we have played this before, but gotta play it again. Here is Hamas themselves explaining exactly why.
قام بتشييد 500 كيلومتر من الأنفاق لماذا لم يشيد
Since you have built 500 kilometers of tunnels,
لم يشيد مآوي يلجأ إليها.
Why haven't you built bomb shelters where civilians can hide during bombardments? That's the question. Here is Hamas.
إليها المدنيون خلال القصف.
نحن شيدنا الأنفاق.
We have built the tunnels because we have no other way
لا نملك ما ندفع
of protecting ourselves from being targeted and killed.
به عن أنفسنا من القتل والاستهداف. هذه الأنفاق من أجل أن نحمي أنفسنا من
These tunnels are meant to protect us from the airplanes.
نحمي مقاتلين.
We are fighting from inside the tunnel.
من الأنفاق. أما القطاع غزة فأنت تعلم والجميع.
Everybody knows that 75% of the people in the Gaza Strip are refugees. This is, by the way, a deceptive narrative where they declare the Gazan population officially refugees because they give them the hope that one day they will take the Israeli land and those refugees will settle there.
الجميع يعلم بأنه 75% منه لاجئين واللاجئين هو مسؤولية.
And it is the responsibility of the United Nations to protect.
الأمم المتحدة في حماية.
So according to Hamas spokesperson himself, they don't build shelters for the civilian population because it is not Hamas's responsibility to protect the civilian population. It is the responsibility of the United Nations. So what he's basically saying is, we don't really care about the civilian population and their defense. What we're doing is just to build tunnels so we can fight against Israel. This is why Israel has to bomb even civilian apartment buildings and all that, because these people are embedded under the civilian population, among the civilian population. They have no regard for the civilians involved here. And Israel has no choice left after 2 decades of attacks than to do what they're doing right now in Gaza.
Can you imagine if Israel had like the same strategy that these guys have? What would they do? They'd launch an attack on Iran. They go blow up take out Iran's nuclear program and a bunch of their leaders and stuff. Then all the military and all the leaders run and hide in bunkers and so on, and leave everyone else up on the surface with no protection, and just let them get blown to bits, and then go, look, Iran is genociding us. Oh my goodness, they're targeting. Fortunately, Israel's in a bunch of sniveling cowards.
Here's a funny video. Here's a video which shows exactly the kind of stuff that happens in Gaza. In this video, you will see a civilian apartment building bombed by Israel. But of course, you will also see in what context and why it is bombed. Here you have a civilian building. Out of that building, a Hamas terrorist leans out with an RPG launcher and fires it from the civilian building and goes back inside.
And then so Israel says, there's terrorists, bomb it. And then they go, look, they're bombing civilian residences. Oh my goodness, it's a genocide.
Guess what happens next? Well, now we will see what happens next. Here's the building in question. Boom. Boom. And you know what the news say? Israel just bombed a civilian apartment building. And the global outrage then goes with, why is Israel doing this? Only Israel is this evil. Look, they bombed this apartment because they don't care about non-Jews. It's because these people are Arabs, Muslims. That's why this is literally genocide. Literally, the same day, this will be reported as Israel bombing a civilian building, and people will start crying about how Israel is committing a genocide. Now watch this again without commentary. Just watch it through. That's how it's done.
That's how genocide is done, everyone.
No excuses. That is how it's done. That's what happens. Anyway. GigaChat of NPC said St. Pius X, St. Pius the 10th to Theodore Herzl. We can't prevent the Jews from going to Jerusalem, but we could never sanction it. The soil of Jerusalem, if it was not always sacred, has been sanctified. But we could never sanction it. The soil of Jerusalem, if it was not always sacred, has been sanctified by the love of Jesus. Yeah, cool. The good thing is that I don't really care about what Pope Pius X said. Dave Long, Islam is a death cult. It's satanic. Very based.
Stanic.
Yeah, it's stanic. Arctic Base says we are living in the age of FAFO. Powerful.
Lots of people are finding out lately.
Yeah. FAFO actually means, right, that wasn't the original video that I got this from. That was kind of smart. Hold on. Look at this. Class, pay attention. This is a classic terrorist maneuver known as frontal artillery from outside. The terrorist is seen from the outside, from the front of the house, firing heavy artillery. The IDF response to the FAFO maneuver is to blow the house to smithereens.
Nice.
Frontal artillery from outside. Smart. Smartly. Ever notice how the people who say Ukraine is fighting a NATO proxy war deny Hamas Hezbollah being an Iranian proxy? Yep. Big hypocrisy. Big Rig, love your neighbor and enemies except for Mike Winger. David 614. MT also noticed how Tucker's takes on the Middle East changed after an Iranian Democrat started funding his show, just asking questions. It's very suspicious, but I probably don't think anything of it. Yeah. Noam MKW, Iran also attacked the U.S. embassy in Baghdad both yesterday and today using missiles, drones. They got intercepted and no juice, so no news. I did see that. There was an attack on the U.S. embassy in Baghdad.
What did we do?
We just watched. We just watch. Mosh Cohen, what's up, Mosh? Operation QR code just had a new happy customer. Nice. Stay safe out there. Arctic base, the promises made to the Jewish people in the Hebrew Bible are highly specific and falsifiable, unlike that found in any other religions, actually. Powerful, powerful. But what do you mean, username says? Who is most buffed, Raymond Ibrahim or Wes Huff? Is it Raymond Ibrahim or Wes Huff?
Raymond is bigger. Raymond is significantly bigger, but it's also more impressive with Raymond because he's also significantly older.
Nice.
So he's older and bigger.
All right. Hope you guys are well. We are all good here. To my fellow Israelis, head up high, keep the smile on, and FFS, stop filming. They can't break us. Ivory Leviathan, I wonder why the people supposedly so concerned with Christians never talk about what Muslims are doing to them in Nigeria and Burkina Faso, just for example. It's because there are no Jews involved. That's why. Chris created...
Hey, AP, as far as when the objection is, but think about the Christians in Israel, that should be the response. Hey, if concern for persecuted Christians is what you're after, then let's start at the top and go down the list. Let's start at the worst, then go down the list and wait till we get to Israel, which just doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen.
But the people... Victoria has something nice to say about Raymond here. Chris Creative, Tim Pool had a Mexican Christian on his show last night, but that didn't understand why Christians were so protective of Jews. Israel folk don't read. I don't know who that is. Can't say nothing. Mr. Gen, if Khamenei and his cronies go out, will it be via bunker buster or by being Gaddafi'd? That's a good question. He's probably in his bunker, which reminds me of a tweet made by Geert Wilders. So Geert Wilders earlier made a very cool tweet, or the other day, or early today, I don't know. But Geert Wilders from Netherlands tweeted this and also pinned it.
Nederlanden.
From the Nederlanden, he tweeted this. Khamenei said, life will definitely become bitter for the Zionists, to which Geert Wilders said, go to your bunker, wait for your 72 virgins, and shut up.
Good point. That is a valid point.
It is. Cracklin, what would you say, though, to those who say the Mossad was involved in really bad stuff, therefore Israel evil? I don't see evidence of Mossad doing evil stuff, but I have heard that argument. Well, everyone was involved in evil stuff. That doesn't mean that they are all horribly bad. Mossad wasn't involved in horribly bad stuff. Maybe they did one or two things that are a little bit questionable, but once again, this is one of those things that is used against to single out Jews. Aside of
so put it this way. Have the CIA suppose you find out Mossad has done evil stuff? Okay, has the CIA done evil stuff? Yeah,
bigly.
Has the FBI done evil stuff?
Bigly.
Therefore, United States evil perpetually needs to be destroyed and wiped out.
Yep.
Suddenly, people would change their mind about the reasoning. But if it's
also,
against Jews, it's good.
By the way, also, all therefore Americans evil and all Christians bad.
Mm-hmm.
Knows too much. Those who expected Israel to let the Iranian Islamist regimes get nukes are evil or dumb, or usually both. Response from most Western leaders is pathetic. Pathetic indeed. Don't listen to the West. The West has been castrated a long time ago. Iron Kipper, raspy voice. AP, didn't you hear Israel and the small Satan? They are to blame for gingers and missing socks. Knows too much. The al-Zut to Momo. It's time to zoot ass and chew Quran. And we are all out of Qurans. By the way, nothing. Arctic Base says, by the way, Sam scam. Hey, Sam Shimon is no, I'm not reading this. I don't care. Knows too much. When have the Zoot Ibn Masud don't Zoot? Ash Moy says, David Wood, did the Israeli oppress you with cheap falafel?
No, Israel has pretty good falafel.
Really?
Yes, they oppressed me. They said I'm a Christian. They gave me the worst falafel. It was horrible.
I must say, I felt a little bit oppressed at one time in Israel when we went to that restaurant and we ordered those big sandwiches, and it was so filled with stuff. It was so absolutely filled that I couldn't hold on to it. It was like it was dripping all over the place, and some of it dripped on my pants. So I felt like that happened because I was being oppressed as a non-Israeli in Israel.
It was a mess. Those were messy sandwiches, to be completely honest and fair.
Yeah, but they were too delicious. So, Avigi News, I'm taking time away from worshiping Ezra as the Son of God to celebrate the U.S. Army's birthday. Happy birthday. Adam Barnard, AP's new song, Who Told You to Judge by It, is double bassed in 1.5 speed. Sick beat might need a few tweaks for that speed, though. Oh, hi, David. That is cool. I gotta try it in 1.5 speed. Let me see. I wonder if I play it, if they will copy strike my channel because it's a song. Even if it's my song.
No, they won't. No, I played it multiple times.
That's insane, man. Iron Kib, I must go sleep before the next attack. Love you both. Stay safe. Your favorite mate, where in the Bible do Christians get the idea that we replace the Jews and are the new Israel? Did I miss something? I got the impression that we've been adopted as children of God, not replacing. Well, to be fair, there is one point that people usually go at, and where I have some agreements with it, which is in Romans 9 through 11, specifically in so they are Israelites, and to them belong the adoption. So very, very beautiful part. I'm speaking to the truth in Christ. I'm not lying. My conscience bears me witness in the Holy Spirit that I have great sorrow and unceasing anguish in my heart, for I could wish that I myself were accursed and cut off from Christ for the sake of my brothers, my kinsmen according to the flesh. They are Israelites, and to them belong the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the worship, and the promises. To them belong the patriarchs, and from their race, according to their flesh, is the Christ, who is God over all, blessed forever. Amen. However, there is a part here that is significant, which is this part here. So, I mean, I don't want to go into this very, very lengthily, honestly. But if you just read through Romans 11, this is where the idea basically comes from. That those who are Israel of the flesh are broken off, and they are the natural branches, and they are broken off from the tree, and the Gentiles are then grafted into the tree. But that a time will come when those natural branches who were cut off will be grafted back into their own olive tree, and so on. So this whole thing is about Israel. But yeah, this is basically where the whole idea comes from. MTAP Google dancing Palestinians. Wait, I wonder if when I Google dancing Palestinians, it actually comes up. Let me see.
Then you will be humiliated. You will see no dancing Palestinians.
No, unfortunately, it doesn't come up. Maybe people should popularize it more.
Atmosphere, the V sign for victory being displayed in East Jerusalem today among jubilant Palestinians that the United States had been subject to this attack. What are we to make of that, Jennifer? Are we to, Yasser Arafat may issue this condemnation. Look at this. We're seeing people applauding, clapping, smiling, happy to know that thousands of Americans have died in this sneak attack. And there you see a V for victory sign held up to the camera. What are we to make of that, and what are we to make of what about what?
Whoa, it's a peace sign. It's a peace sign.
However, while some Palestinians were taking to the streets in apparent celebration, one youth was quoted as saying, as he received a sweets handed around in celebration, "This is a sweet from Osama bin Laden," he said.
Pat Dawson.
Back to you.
Pat Dawson, thanks very much. We have some videotape, I understand, increasingly unpopular.
This is the funny thing. When 9/11 happened, in the immediate aftermath, we knew that that there were Muslims celebrating. We had footage. It was all over TV of the Palestinians celebrating and cheering. But some people have forgotten things, and others never were even around, and now are engaging in stupid conspiracy theories.
And that was also going on in Dearborn, Michigan, and was on the news, and then it all got scrubbed, as in scrubbed all records of it.
And I got to tell you, as much as this might be anecdotal evidence, people like me and many others who were Muslims and at those times lived among Muslims, we know very, very well that in the Muslim community worldwide on 9/11, there was happiness, there was relief, there were celebrations, there was mockery, and so on. Most of the Muslims that I knew when I was still quite young, when 9/11 happened, were either cheerful or dismissive of it, or sarcastic about it, and so on. Lots of people were happy about it. I don't remember a single person actually feeling like sad or condemning it or any of that.
And I noticed something way back then. I pointed. The matter of fact, I think this was my most popular video of all time. Was my my video about the Ground Zero Mosque. But in that, I actually pulled up. I actually pulled up some pictures that Nabil and his cousins were passing around back then. But keep in mind, Nabil, after 9/11, walking around, of course, condemning the attack. He's from the most peaceful sect of Islam. After the attack, he draped a giant American flag over his car outside in the driveway and so on. So he was making it very clear Islam doesn't condone these kinds of attacks, and these things are completely unacceptable in Islam. He was very clear on that message. Issue was, I was friends with him by this time, and so I was there when him and his cousins were passing around the pictures, and one of the pictures was the New York City mosque line 2005, where this was supposedly 5 years after the attacks, and all the places that have been destroyed were replaced by mosques and minarets and so on. And they were passing around pictures of the Statue of Liberty in a burqa, and George Bush as a Muslim, things like that. And so that was interesting. It was even the people who were condemning it publicly thought it was funny behind the scenes. They were joking about it behind the scenes.
By the way, something that people should also think about and keep in mind is very relevant right now. Look what this headline says. Hamas praises Osama bin Laden as holy warrior. Palestinian Islamic group condemns mission to kill bin Laden as part of a U.S. policy of oppression. The Palestinian Islamist group Hamas has praised Osama bin Laden as an Arab holy warrior and condemned his killing by American forces in Pakistan. The comments expose a clear gap between Hamas and their Palestinian counterparts, Fatah, with whom they are due to sign a reconciliation pact this week in Cairo. Getting rid of bin Laden is good for the cause of peace worldwide. That's what the Palestinian Authority says. But Hamas praises bin Laden as a hero. Ismail Haniyeh, head of the Hamas administration in the Gaza Strip, told reporters that Hamas viewed the killing of bin Laden as a continuation of the American policy based on oppression and the shedding of Muslim and Arab blood. He noted doctrinal differences between bin Laden's Al-Qaeda and Hamas, which sees itself as primarily a nationalist movement rather than an internationalist movement. Haniyeh added, "We condemn the assassination and the killing of an Arab holy warrior. We ask God to offer him mercy with the true believers and the martyrs." And some people out there actually think that these guys are not the bad guys, man.
But the people are retarded.
Metamorphosis just sent you a link to your music vid to a Muslim on FB. We'll see. Chameleon, Jew haters believe Jews are the smartest, most creative, capable superhumans that ever existed, almost like gods. It's true. Ash Maze AP imitating the Jew hate retards is pretty funny. Ivory Leviathan, why do you think some people are so obsessed with targeting Jews for perceived crimes, but simultaneously willfully turn a blind eye to jihad, grooming gangs, honor killings by Muslims? It's infuriating. There's a lot of evil out there, man. There's a lot of evil out there. Lots of evil out there. Lots of evil out there. That's all I can say.
That's one of the ways of spotting it, though. Just complete hypocrisy. That's how you spot it.
Yeah, just like on Spotify. Knows too much. The stupidity of the anti-Israel voices is only rivaled by their immorality and hypocrisy. Very much so. Giga chat of NPCs. Why does Iran have strong relationships with AMRSRU? I don't see these flags on my thing. But what is this? America, Russia, and what? I don't even see them, man.
No, it's not America. It's Russia. I don't know the others. It's basically certain. Why does Iran have strong relations with
Armenia, Serbia, and Russia? Why does Iran have strong relationships with these countries? This is so funny. On my screen, it just appears as like letters, and I have to check the stream on here to see the flags. Armenia, Serbia, and Russia, Christian countries, but supposedly wants to end USBC. It's Christian. US because it's Christian. Obviously, the real reason is forcing liberal ideology and power on the world. Powerful. Miss V, I was born and raised in Iran. I remember the revolution, and yes, I love Reza Pahlavi. He's for democracy and letting the people choose their destiny. That's what he's for. Some people really want to bring him back as a monarch, as a new Shah of Iran, but he says we want democracy.
I'll take it.
Big Rig, imagine constantly getting outspotted and overpowered by what they call descendants of apes and rats. So wouldn't the M's be the lower level species if everyone operated under the M's thought processes? Very much so, yeah. Supposedly the Jews are the baddies who are descended from apes and pigs, according to some. But the Jews are really doing the job very, very well. They're operating like intelligent humans. So,
is there? When do any of these groups not get totally outsmarted by Jews? But wouldn't that suck? Wouldn't that suck? It's like, oh, we are superior to them. They're the worst of creatures. They're garbage. Allah transforms them into all sorts of animals. Ha ha! It's like when they get crushed by a woman who they believe is intellectually deficient.
Damn, wait a minute. Aviva says Iran murdered this family. All 5 Arab family members were killed when a missile slammed into their home in Tamra near Haifa. This is an Arab family that was killed by the strike. So these are the people that Iran's latest strike killed. From an Arab city, from an Arab town. Arabs, all of them. Very, very I really wonder what the Arab world thinks about this kind of stuff. I really, really wonder. The beautiful Khatib family were killed tonight by the Iranian regime's attack on Israel. Oh, this is a Christian family. Oh yeah, it says Christ something. A Christian family of 5 from the Arab town of Tamra near Haifa. May their memories forever be blessings of light. The regime doesn't care who you are. They kill anyone. Yeah. May their memory be a blessing. Asa, the amount of people that show empathy for the Islamic regime is beyond me. They would have your head rolling at the first opportunity. This is true. Very true. Ali Khamenei be like, I am getting the al-Zud out of here. Ida Rogos and borscht is not shir and not exclusive to Russia. In your face, David.
Oh, okay. Well, stroganoff then. Does that help? Putin, yes. Why don't you go back to eating your stroganoff and shut your pie hole about this?
Yes.
That help?
Ida!
Yes. Ida.
Is that better, Ida? Stroganoff?
Sankey, did AP like Trump's big, beautiful Mukhtar parade? I didn't even watch anything. I have no idea what's going on. Hilarious virus. I can't believe that Omar Mujahid's taxpayer money from Bangladesh are going to Israel. Victor G, sorry guys, it's off the topic, but have you heard about Egyptians shutting down St. Catherine Monastery, the oldest active monastery in the world? I have heard it, and I'm kind of loosely following it. The latest news of it were that the Egyptian government said that they have no intention to shut it down, and it will stay open, and it will operate, and we will protect it. Then there was a joint statement, I think, by Egypt and Greece, that they would protect it. Now, we were just recently discussing this, and I was discussing this in a group with my priest, my spiritual father, and I told him the updates, and I said, and he's Greek himself, and I said, Egypt and Greece made the announcement that they're going to protect the place, and he then said to me, it saddens me to say this as a Greek to a Turkish person, but I don't really trust the government of Greece in matters like this. But so far, it does seem that that Egypt wants to uphold their promise to keep this place open, but there are some concerns about what Egypt is legally doing here. I think they're trying to claim that they actually own the monastery, which is this monastery, this old ancient monastery, which is the oldest continuously inhabited Christian monastery in the world. Powerful place. But I will have more updates on that if something happens, and I will talk about it if something happens. Dave Long, please discuss, is Islam a radical satanic religion? Yes. Paul, what's there to discuss?
It's all the discussion we need.
Yeah. Paul, Jews have collective trauma. The history of persecution explains their militant approach, often at the cost of diplomacy in resolving conflicts. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Israel is extremely diplomatic in resolving conflicts, extremely so, and has a lot of patience and holds back a lot, even sometimes when they shouldn't. The mythical elliptical, the debt to Cyrus is paid, ancient allies renewed. Powerful. Miss V, David, that's doog you're talking about, and it's delicious. That sounds disgusting.
It sure is. I'm drinking a big cup of it right now.
Doog.
Yogurt, fermented milk yogurt soda. I could drink it all day long.
No, I'm MKW. What smells worse, Greta's boat or this bus?
Doog.
I would say it's probably the bus, man. Paul, why wasn't the IDF able to use precision strikes in Gaza like with Hezbollah and Iran? I'm not getting conspirational, just asking questions. Exactly. Mother Hulda, AP, we get that the woke boat are crazy, but please think about how your words are celebrating violence against them. This is old AP, not new AP.
No,
Not really.
I think this is just AP.
Not really. I mean, I wasn't celebrating really violence. I mean, I think that
you're celebrating an evil terrorist organization getting what they rightly deserve to make way for them to not horribly oppress and rape and kill their own people anymore.
I think this is in reference to those pro-Palestine activists.
The pro-Palestine.
I wouldn't really call it violence. They were just getting slapped and or kicked and deported. I wouldn't really call it violence, honestly.
Yeah, no, these are people need a touch of reality. They live in a bubble where they can be as stupid and idiotic as they want all day, every day, and expect to be taken seriously. And they do not understand how the rest of the world works. And they just got a brief glimpse. This stuff. I mean, if you've seen the videos where they're sitting in front of the Egyptian army, they're going, the soldiers are standing there just like looking confused, like, are you serious? we're supposed to change our minds because of you whining and sniveling in front of it. Are you joking? That's what they're looking at them like on what planet do you think this is going to work? So keep in mind, if they showed up there and people slaughtered them, we would not approve. If people actually get out of here, you bunch of idiots. No, we won't. Okay, we're gonna grab you and snatch you up and make you leave.
Here's the thing.
Don't celebrate that. No, those people need a touch of reality. It is in their best interest so that they stop being delusional at some point in their lives.
I'm not sure if you have seen the videos, but there is. So if you look at the footage of what they actually did, is it's very mild, and is also very, very much deserved. So this is not a case of the Egyptian government or the Egyptian authorities just randomly being violent with these people. What's happening here is that these people are told to leave. Right, they are told to leave. The pro-Palestine activists are told to leave and get out and stop what they're doing. And they sit down and they think they can act as if they were in a Western country. They think they can act as if they were in a Western country. And they're like, no, we'll stay here now. We'll do whatever they want. I'm sorry. If you do that, you will get beat in Egypt. This is not Europe.
Yeah, you need to learn. You need to learn reality. This is reality.
This is not UK. This is not France. This is not Sweden. This is not Norway. This is not even Israel. This is none of those places. This is Egypt. If in Egypt you act as if you were in Germany and you want to protest and you want to, and the authorities say, get out and leave right now or we will remove you. And you are there like, no, free Palestine. You will get smacked.
That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. Yeah.
You get smacked, and rightly so.
What planet? Yeah, you do not have the same legal rights to do stuff you're doing. You remember when free Palestine people would show up in like Saudi Arabia and they would just get snatched up and they would just get snatched up instantly as soon as they start waving a flag. Why? It's like you're not starting this crap down here. You're not starting this crap down here.
You not only had the Egyptian authorities involved, you even had random civilians involved trying to help the Egyptian police and telling these idiots to leave and to get out and violently helping to remove them and so on. This is what's happening. This is what they describe as violence. So when the woman complains about, oh, we were treated violently and we were hit and we were... This is what they're describing. I'm sorry, you don't.
You're told to leave, you refuse to leave. Yeah, you're told to leave, you refuse to leave, they snatch you up. Yeah.
You don't have the right to do whatever the hell you want. You have the right to leave or to be forcibly removed. That's it. And you should be.
And you had the right to not even try to begin with. That's what you get. So, Mother Hulda, I'll say you get what you asked for.
That's what you get, mate.
And really, the big joke here is these are not people I take seriously at all. These are people who are like dying for attention. That's what they want to go down there to show what a great. Well, look what a great person I am. And then we can't get in by boat, so we'll go through Egypt, and we'll go through Egypt, and they'll be on our side. They won't stop us like Israel. Egypt will be on our side because they're Muslims. And look at what they think. And you need a wake up call. You need a wake up call. You don't realize how good you have it here. The rest of the world does not put up with this crap.
If you think Israel is bad, then you really have no idea what you're talking about. You really don't know how Muslim countries and Arab countries will treat you. So yeah, once again, I wouldn't call it violence. I would call it justice.
This is just old AP. New AP shouldn't think that people should be stopped.
Stop mocking Mother Hulda, man. What's wrong with you?
This is old AP. New AP is supposed to be yelling, free Palestine, free Palestine.
Nurse loves coffee, fermented milk soda, new penance unlocked.
It's so good though.
The Sahih says Al-Zutti Ayatollah and Iran will be free. Hope so. Elijah Petty, the CIA will probably put a new puppet government. Well, I hope the CIA doesn't get involved. So Paolo Lungaro AP. Anyway, you can get Tommy Robinson on your stream. Oh, hi David. This reminds me, I need to get back to Maya Tusi. In fact, I will do that as we speak right now. Maya to see, Maya to see,
Maya to see,
Maya to
Maya to see, Maya to see,
Maya to.
Maya to.
On the 26th in the afternoon. I'm gonna.
The Dawa guy comes along. What?
I'm gonna meet up with Maya Tusi and also get something with Tommy Robinson while I'm there.
Where? Whoa, 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 whoa! I don't know if you've noticed, but Tommy is spending as little time in the UK as possible.
I don't care.
It seems like he's only.
do not
Why
care
don't
if he's in
Why
the
don't you
UK.
listen? It's actually relevant. He's
I
He's
do
only
not
there when he
care
has
if
to be
he's in
for
the
a
UK or
legal
not.
case. He's in the Bahamas. I'm saying it's a much. Go to the Bahamas and interview him.
I don't care if he's
in
in
the
London.
Bahamas. Say, hey, can I meet you in the Bahamas for an interview? That's what PBD did.
Hang on.
Well,
nothing. Zud in the boot said, David Wood, are you only saying Raymond is bigger than Wes is because Wes is a wingling?
Well, Wes is a wingling, and therefore he's mentally small. But no, Wes Huff is like 3 feet tall, and so he looks like he has big muscles, but it's just because he's such a tiny little wingling. I'll say he's big for a wingling. I'll point that out. Even though he's only 3 feet tall, and those muscles just look big because he's tiny.
It's got a small wingling.
That's true. I saw that.
Summer Amari Nick Freitas was featured on Iran State Media TV News Channel yesterday as American analyst.
Yeah, that's like getting Syrian girl on as an expert in Middle East affairs.
I think Israel
American
analyst.
Yeah. Shouldn't it be Mexican analyst?
It should.
He becomes Mexican whenever anyone accuses him of being a white supremacist. What are you talking about? I'm Mexican, man. Hola. Where my sombrero fall off? Cinco de Mayo.
He was on Iranian national TV, but they would have probably not put him on there if they found out that he's actually gay and small.
True.
Monk Fubar, an ethical army should surrender when it can no longer care for its own civilians. It's unethical to give aid to Gaza and Hamas because it takes away that responsibility. Therefore, your thoughts. Well, the thing is, no matter what Israel does right now, Hamas are completely messed up, evil people who will not give up. So when you stop giving the population in Gaza the needs to survive, Hamas will not be forced to resign. Hamas will be okay with that. They will let their population die. And then
yes, they will.
And then try to depict Israel as the evil guy. You are I don't think it would be in any ethical framework okay to knowingly let all the people there starve and die.
True.
In no ethical framework, whether it is some secular ethical framework or a biblical ethical framework, it wouldn't be. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you're dealing with a situation where the regime wants as many of its civilians to die as possible. And you're saying, well, why don't you help them make that happen or something like that?
And Daniel said, Apostate Prophet, listen, why do you make fun of Islam? Because Islam is funny.
That's a good point.
Well, what do you mean username said? What do you mean username said? Can you make a Zabiba song to the tune of Beat It?
No. Zabiba. Or just beating your head against the ground. Beat it. No one wants the Zabiba.
Holy Joe, the two of you really need to get Isa Kabir on to discuss the Islamic dilemma. You need to do that. You should.
We will. Yeah, Isa has a different perspective from most Muslims. So
powerful. Cheryl R., happy Father's Day to you both and all the daddies watching. Happy birthday to the U.S. Army 4547 and my bro. And happy Flag Day, U.S. Indeed. I agree. Happy birthday to the U.S. Army. Paulo Longaro, AP and David Wood. I had ChatGPT create an image of Mo and the Zoots. How can I share it to you too? You can post it and say this is Al Zoot. Anywhere.
And tag us on X.
Yeah.
Dusty, happy early Father's Day to you both, and also to the men of Al-Zut for making Momo call them daddy. Sheikh Mike Wingelinge, AP, any nuclear, only a nuclear armed Mahdi can stop the nuclear armed Antichrist. Why are you supporting Israel's world war? Well, because I want to support that one. Yeah. Humbled Clay, a lonely bull pleasures himself. Beef stroganoff. Mother Hulda is very, very mild. I've been corrected. I thought she said someone got punched in the face and you said good. To be fair, I think she did say that and I did say good. But even in that case, if you are in the middle of if you are at a place in Egypt and you are told by the Egyptian authorities to leave and you don't, and then you're forcibly removed and you still resist and then you're punched in the face as a result of that, I would still say good, deserved, honestly.
If you'd like a comparison, it's like when people are like blocking traffic and they're banging on people's cars and stuff like this, and someone gets out and punches them in the face. I'm not going to be like, oh no, you punch this person in the face. It's like,
but I get your point.
You brought it on yourself. You brought that crap on yourself.
But I get your point, Mother Holder. I get your point. It's not nice. It's not good. But in that case, I would say it's deserved and expected.
Wake up call. It is good for people to have a wake up call sometimes.
Yeah.
There are times I've been punched in my face in my life, and I deserved to get punched in the face.
I've never been punched in the face, so
I've been punched in the face hundreds of times. Most of it deserved.
You've been punched in the face hundreds of times?
I've been punched in the face hundreds of times in my life, yes.
Hundreds of times?
When I was younger, yes, hundreds of times.
And when I said never, I probably it was probably once or twice, but hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times. Keep in mind, I'm not talking about punch in the face by like a boxer. I'm talking about like punch in the face fighting and stuff like that. Because dude, you get punched in the face 20 times in a fight. Right?
Nice. Ida goes, and now David hates me, but I still love him.
Well, quit defending Putin and his stupid borscht.
Ida, we love you. Justin Key, even some of the smartest conservatives on Christians, I don't know in reality. Even some of the smartest conservatives on Christians, I know don't live in reality. They think if America just withdraws from the world, it will all be sun drops and daisies. And people are kind of, people have this ridiculous idea that, as Americans, we should just, focus on ourselves and, we shouldn't get involved. We shouldn't be involved in anything and, just focus on the problems we have. The world doesn't function that way. The world does not work that way. It's called isolationism, and isolationism is stupid. It doesn't work, especially not as a superpower like America that every other country actively wants to infiltrate and take control of. It doesn't work that way, especially if you have so many dealings with nations around the world that other nations that are not as naive as you are rivaling to take over and influence for more power. You can't just stand by and be like, oh, yeah, I'll just mind my own business. I'll just mind my own business and just not do anything. This isolationism is stupid. It has been tried so many times by people, and it is just about as stupid as communism. So you shouldn't be criticizing communism if you actually believe in isolationism. It is a stupid, unrealistic, utopian, nonsensical idea. You have to be involved in the world because you are in the world. Anything you want to say about this, David?
No, so, I mean, there are situations where saying I'm staying out of this is the best bet, and there are other times where staying out of it does not help and makes things worse, and it is not time to stay out of it. And so,
Michael says, David, how much are you paid to be anti-Putin?
Like trillions of dollars. Screw Putin. Like clockwork. Cha-ching! See what happens?
That just came
See what
in.
happens? See what happens? It just came in the mail.
But I called Putin the devil of Europe, by the way, and I'm proud of that. So hope that helps. Daniel says, no, never mind. I don't care. I don't care. All right. Justin, finally, Ashmoy says, update, ordered winglings again, buffalo sauce. Nice. Enjoy the winglings. Enjoy the winglings. All right, David, anything else? What are we doing tomorrow?
Father's Day tomorrow. I'll probably eat a bunch of wings.
Winglings?
Yeah, topic wise, I'm not sure. I got a couple things we can do, but also given world events, there's always something that could happen tomorrow. But We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna, I'll put the link to my song into the chat. So if you haven't listened to my song, check out my song, which you can find on Apple Music and Spotify, and also on a bunch of other streaming services that I haven't really checked out myself. I just distributed it because it was cheap to do.
And you shouldn't just listen to the song, ladies and gentlemen. You should share it everywhere.
Yeah, sharing is caring. FYI, borscht is UNESCO recognized as Ukrainian national dish. Russist has nothing to do with it.
Stop lying about borscht, everyone. And by the way, I even just due to complaints and whining, I changed it to stroganoff. What are you going to say now? Oh, stroganoff is just Ukrainian. And what's next? Oh, vodka is just Ukrainian. Russians hate vodka. Yeah, right.
In your face, David.
What?
Borscht. Place of origin, Ukraine.
This is Russian propaganda.
That doesn't make sense.
What? Why not?
Oh yeah, because you think they would say it's bad, so therefore it's from Ukraine. Okay, well, I get it. Ida goes, and I'm Ukrainian, but borscht has nothing to do with Putin. I just defend the borscht. Nice. In your face, David.
In your face! You've been humiliated. You've been humiliated.
I'm your teacher, boy.
It's like the whole chat is a bunch of Putin puppets.
You're finished already. Look at me. Look at me. You know you're done.
Borscht defenders.
Borscht.
I'm your teacher, boy.
It is totally based.
All right. So that's what we're doing.
I will turn Putin into a giant plate of bashed borscht.
That is very borscht. Let's see what happens before we leave. If there's any immediate concerning updates, latest updates, live updates, New York Times. At least 3 people, including a 10-year-old boy, were killed, about 100 injured after a wave of Iranian missiles struck cities along Israel's central coast near Tel Aviv, according to Magen David Adom, the country's national emergency service. 3 people died in an early barrage in Tamarad in northern Israel, bringing the total number of people killed in the overnight strikes to 6. Okay, so we have new deaths, apparently, including a 10-year-old boy. May it all go well and lead to good and peaceful outcomes. Thanks, everybody, for watching. As always, I would say that we should heed the call of the goat, which is translated into English as the following.
Stay away from Islam.